top of the world, and I'm never coming down. You can't touch the sky, no.
Welcome to Superfest, and welcome to the Brawl Stars World Finals. We've got $1 million on the line, and just 3 days of competition to get there. It is time to get this party started and get our first match underway.
Joker can just walk in. Oh no! That keeps SK Gaming in the lead, and Lay will take his first match.
The final 3 seconds, Stu's gonna go for it, but there's no chance. Plays it straight into their hands once more instead of it. The pass! And the goal's there from Zeta Division, but extend the lead. A crazy raccoon beat the world champions.
He can't contest, and Dino tries he might. Space Station are sent blasting off again.
Will have no issue here taking care of their fellow rival.
Finds some damage, but it's not going to be enough. They will proceed to day 2.
This next match is an elimination match.
Zeus chasing down Motep here.
Elevate, they're going on to day 2.
The connection as well, meaning he gets another super gun, 4.5k damage left. That's not something Eternal Fire can stop.
Here's Chino over the top. Unreal! Charles in a 1v2 to try and save them. It's not going to be enough.
What a close match.
What a day it has been. But tomorrow is where the temperature gets dialed up to 11 because we enter our quarterfinals, and we will be one step closer to crowning our next world champion. We'll see you then. As the dust settles after a wild first day of competition, our brawlers that have emerged unscathed prepare for our second day of our finals right here, right now, live from Superfest in the heart of Helsinki, Finland. Welcome to day 2 of the Brawl Stars World Finals. Yesterday, 12 of the best teams from around the world went toe-to-toe on this very stage for a quarterfinals spot. And today, just 8 remain. It is going to be an absolutely phenomenal day of Brawl Stars esports, I can assure you. Now, my name is Barney Banks, and I am your host. And remember, we've got $1 million on the line, the Brawl Stars Championship belt. And not only that, but from today, all of our matches are best of 5s. So, with that being said, it is time to send you over to our casters. In the booth, we've got Uber and Kenny.
And what a day for it, folks. My goodness. The atmosphere in here, absolutely electric. Standing room only in the arena here live from Brawlfest in Helsinki. Welcome back to the desk. I'm Mitch Leslie here, joined by Kenneth Barlow III. That's true and real. Guarantee you.
Simply false.
It's a great sounding name, I'm not going to lie.
It is.
I tell you what, looking back over yesterday, we whittled 12 teams down to 8, Kenny, and we had banger after banger after banger. Some of the most high-quality games, the highest density of high-quality games we've ever seen in a day of Brawl. And I've got a feeling we're far from done.
This crowd was loud and proud as well. It is buzzing here today. It's tough competition, though. We eliminated an entire region yesterday, and today we've got some of EMEA's finest kicking us off.
Absolutely. EMEA came into this tournament with 5 seeds, so plenty of representation, and much of that has been kept intact. Let's have a look at our results from yesterday and get you up to speed with an explosive day 1. Here are your groups, and bear in mind, these matches were all best of 3s, so there really weren't too many second chances for teams that were slow to start. Group A saw SK Gaming advance in first place with Elevate in second. We saw Reply Totem having to come through LCQ, Kenny, getting out of Group B in first over Pioneers.
And they're one of the few LCQ teams left. They somehow go through the gauntlet, survive, take on SSG, SA's #1, Pioneers #2 in North America, and come out unscathed. On the other end, the Group of Death, Group C, a lot of action went down there. Both of those teams that made it through, Crazy Raccoon, Zeta Division, who we'll see momentarily, are certainly battle-tested.
Now, with 4 EMEA teams in the competition, it was almost inevitable that we'd see an interregional clash here in the quarterfinals. Here are your matches for today. We've got 4 best of 5 quarterfinals on deck for you. We're starting with an absolute doozy. 2 teams with massive reputations, huge followings that haven't really played in a game of consequence on the world stage ever.
In terms of international level, Not a lot to it. I mean, Zeta Division has not really faced off against the players of SK Gaming, but safe to say SK Gaming all have roster members that have come just short of success here at an international level. On the other end, however, they're 2023 world champions.
Absolutely, and they mean business here in 2024. Remember, it's the lion's share of $1 million that our teams are competing for here at the Brawl Stars World Finals. $400,000 for first place, trickling down, of course. And all of our competitors today take a minimum of $40,000 away from this event. 4 EMEA teams still in the mix. No survivors from South America, but APAC still looking scary, and North America has their delegates still in the mix. What are your thoughts? Who do you think is going to make it through today? Let us know at event.brawlstars.com. That's the place to be to get involved in the action. Watch the stream and give yourself a chance to earn some fantastic in-game loot. We've unlocked the rest of the reward track, and so Hypercharge is up for grabs over the course of this weekend. Great way to get yourself star drops, pins, and other in-game goodies.
And I think we're going to be pretty split here on the casting desk. I'm curious how the crowd and the viewer audience goes, but I think today's a pretty tough day to predict in general. Looks like starting out expectedly split. Here's the thing though, Uber. There are 3 of us picking SK Gaming. Only 2 are picking the defending world champions.
Yeah, which is, it's fascinating. I mean, they are the defending world champions, but a lot has happened over the course of this year. And Zeta Division and SK have played twice, but only in quarterfinals in monthly finals, and they've both taken 1 each. So in the direct head-to-head, it's pretty hard to get a feel for who should come out on top there. SK had such a great start to the year. Tapered off a little bit, though, and that might be why we have a couple of our members putting Zeta Division first. They did fall, of course, to Crazy Raccoon yesterday, but the APAC teams, when it comes to LAN, they always look like a different beast entirely. That's your preamble done. The stage is set. It's time to get this party started. Let's head down to Banks and let's get serious.
Thank you so much, Uber and Kenny. And I know I mentioned it earlier, but I wanted to give you the opportunity to see it up close and personal. This right here is the Brawl Stars Championship belt. What an absolute epic piece of kit this is. This is what all of our players are trying to fight for and to try and get their hands on. And the closer we get to this belt, the more intense the atmosphere gets in the Superfest arena. But it is about time to meet our first 2 quarter-finalists to make their way to the main stage. Our first team had a narrow loss against Crazy Raccoon in their opening match yesterday, but they are your current world champions. From EMEA, we've got Gero, Meow, and Novi. They are Zeta Division. Their opponents had an absolutely fantastic display yesterday's matches because they are coming from the top seed, hailing from EMEA as well. It's Joker, Lenan, and Yoshi, SK Gaming!
Oh yeah, you can hear the crowd. This one means a heck of a lot to our EMEA fans as we look to find our first semi-finalist here. SK Gaming and Zeta Division. Plenty of rivalry, plenty of score to settle in this matchup, Kenny.
It's going to be intense. I mean, this is number 2 and number 3 of EMEA. The only team above them, Humble, who had a little bit of controversy yesterday. Zeta Division had to battle against Crazy Raccoon, who ended up getting revenge on these 3 fellas. They're a fantastic group of members. They need no introduction. But one that stood out to us at the casting desk yesterday in particular, Meow. What an outstanding performance to get here.
Yeah, you'd be forgiven for thinking he was the latest advance in AI technology. This guy is absolutely unshakable. But the banter gets real once Rama gets a hold of his phone. These guys are legit. And yesterday, Meow, over the course of that series, was often on Rico duty or really put in a position where he had to be dealing huge amounts of consistent damage over the course of the game. We normally have a brawler picked up for that purpose, someone longer range or more consistent in output. Meow was stellar. Unfortunately, pulling up a little bit short against this Crazy Raccoon. That's a game you run back 10 times, it goes 5-5.
Could have gone either way. And SK Gaming on the other end, a fearsome opponent, Joker, Yashi, Lana, all of them have taken to the global stage many a time, but this roster in particular has to be noted. When you think about SK Gaming, they run through Lana. When talking with these guys, their strategy, full-out aggression. As Lana so delicately put it in an interview, we are very, very aggressive. Emphasis on very. That's what they do. They power up Lana, let him get in the faces of enemies, and Team Captain Joker, Yashi on the other end, they're right there alongside him.
And Joker, in the past, took Lenard's role on other teams, right? He was that superstar. He was that high economy, high investment player. Now on SK Gaming, though, he's taken a bit more of a backseat, is a bit more focused on the strategic side of things. Getting together with Pedro, working out the drafts, and making sure every SK composition is tailor-made to put Lenar in a position to succeed. And that's exactly what we saw yesterday. We saw a lot of Rico play over that entire set between SK and Elevate from Joker. Lenar was put on a tank or on a brawler that was high risk, high reward, feast or famine. And if SK Gaming have their way, they'll be eating all day.
There's one thing I've learned about this SK Gaming roster. Lana eats way more than he doesn't. Oftentimes, so aggressive. It's just a hard thing to deal with, especially in a draft setting. You can oftentimes counter out those tanky brawlers. It's not that simple with this guy. You really have to adjust your game plan according to him. Team Captain Joker, also a strong drafter in general. He's a huge part of that dialogue that goes down between the team. It's going to be a tough one to script for Zeta Division.
For a lot of brawlers, Lenar's often put in position 3 in terms of the pick and ban. So if SK Gaming are second pick, they get an uncounterable pick for Lenar set up. Either way, they try and make those really impactful picks a little bit later on in the draft to set him up. Zeta Division, though, are extremely consistent. This is a team that doesn't have any glaring flaws. I'd say that maybe while they don't see the highest of highs out of individuals, like a team like SK, you never see them hit low lows like some of these less consistent, more streaky rosters. It's this stability that has paved the way for Zeta Division to be a household name, not only in EMEA, but globally in Brawl Stars.
And it's been polar opposites. Even though they are only 1 seed apart in this region, both had direct tickets to the World Finals. SK Gaming started off the year hot. 0 sets dropped in that top 8. A Grand Finals win. 0 Grand Finals appearances the rest of the way.
Right.
And somehow we're still putting our faith in them. In scrims, in practices, this is a team that I have heard getting a lot of juice from other pro players. Their success rate was really high. And I'm just going to trust in the fact that these guys can deliver on a LAN setting as well. I almost feel like they're due in a sense. Should Zeta Division be the favorites? Yeah, I think they should. They're the defending world champion. They were ahead in seeding. But at the end of the day, these players are way too talented not to finally grab a marquee win for their career.
And it doesn't matter what kind of year SK Gaming have had. It really doesn't. When we get to a LAN like this, we always believe there's a chance. But you at home at event.brawlstars.com feel like this is Zeta Division's game to lose. In fairness, we're pretty split on the caster desk as well. We're headed to Knockout first. It'll be out in the open. A map where you really got to think about taking brawlers that can operate over water. Taking sharpshooters. Pearl will be pretty hotly contested, but that's been banned straight away. For SK Gaming, they don't want to deal with that brawler who often offers a deterministic situation late in the game.
And yesterday's #1 most picked brawler is going to be the first selection overall. However, 33% win rate. And one thing to keep in mind, too, in terms of the brawler pool, only 3 sets of maps, but everybody kind of secure in that. Now that we have those settled maps, we kind of know exactly how teams are feeling in terms of the draft. Gus's success rate not high, but he was played a whole lot.
And the question is, are SK Gaming, even on a knockout map, are they angling for a Kenji pick, potentially? We've often seen Gus paired with these high-risk brawlers to try and make a play with that shield, but Angelo feels like a must-have on this map. He can operate on the left-hand side, of course, being able to cross that water, has extremely high burst damage and high mobility to boot.
I thought Angelo was going to be the first overall pick, considering he was a top 3 ban yesterday. And granted, we did have a lot of knockout, a lot of bounty yesterday. But it's clear that pro players really value him for this game mode. And especially on out in the open, like you alluded to, you need that mobility, the extra space to get around that indestructible wall. Huge difference maker.
So Centerpiece Brawler picked up here for Zeta Division. Now they can start thinking about how they fill the rest of this out. Meg comes in here with a reduction to her maximum range on her primary fire. Recently, she doesn't cover the map quite as easily and will need to play a bit more aggressive in a side lane on a lot of maps. But here, when push comes to shove, Meg having a second life virtually after getting knocked out of the mech, being able to potentially fall back, recover, get back in the mech, means that she's quite difficult to deal with in knockout.
At a professional level, this is going to be her best game mode for that exact reason. You got to deal with her twice, and when you only get 3 lives, having a 4th, if you will, is a big difference maker. Lola making an appearance here. This is going to be an attempt at shredding through this Meg. They need high DPS to bring Meg down to just a measly pea shooter with a tiny pistol. And of course, Angelo, as a sharpshooter with only 1 projectile, not going to do too well into the extra spawner that Lola brings with that super.
This used to be a really common pick for Chaos when he was on this SK Gaming roster. Saw it all the time. Obviously, Lola's damage output increases drastically when she has an ego on the field, and she could use Free Flame, for example, to turn that ego into a piece of shielding. And there it is, the Kenji pick. They kind of telegraphed it with a Gus take at the start. We might expect to see Lenar on that brawler. Can SK Gaming, with this composition, run it down?
And they're going to put their faith, and I'm sure, in Lenard's hands for that. This is the aggressive flair that SK Gaming bring to the table. I don't know if Zeta Division are going to match it. Not oftentimes you're going to see an identical kind of strategy here. These two teams, a little bit different in that front. But it's going to come down to 5 seconds here in a tough decision at that. This is a huge tone setter. Both of these teams know each other quite well. Even though they only played each other a few times, this is the biggest moment of the year for both of them. Daryl going to be where they put their faith.
Okay, Daryl, of course, has the potential to be highly disruptive. We've actually seen him used to counter Frank on a lot of Brawl Ball maps because he can interrupt that super. That little knock-up makes a big difference to any super that's channeled or there's a wind-up associated with them. But that's not really what SK Gaming are working with. Daryl, though, very solid when it comes to all in between him and Meg. You've got a lot of health available. And ladies and gentlemen, it's time. An EMEA clash. SK Gaming versus Zeta Division in this first quarterfinal.
And the crowd already lighting up. The SK chants have begun. Lana diving in early. It's tank on tank here on the top left-hand side. Middle of the map. Sharpshooter Angelo landing a few tags. Meow being rendered down to just 1,600 HP. He's going to have to take a break.
You've got to respect this Kenji. The fact that Lenar, he has a passive that allows him to heal for damage done. It's a rarity in Brawl Stars. Not even Mortis has something like that. I guess he sort of simulates it with his ultimate, but either way, it is pretty scary once that Kenji can get in. Here's the slash EV, now goes low. Joker trying to pressure, but Nelly going to be able to catch Lenar out and just walk away.
Perfect timing there from Navi. You have to go in when Kenji lands. That's when he's at his most prime position to target. Now this fog's starting to roll on in. Garo, right-hand side, looking for an angle. Meow on the left, just brought down to a pistol here, but roll available for Daryl up top.
It's a matter of time until Garo starts hitting these shots, especially with the gas encroaching. It's dangerous. Novi just walks up on him. SK Gaming cannot afford to lose their Kenji off the bat like that again.
Gonna be a reset here. Daryl now on the left-hand side. Lana once again diving in. This is going to be one roll. Looking for a second here. The bounce off the wall. It's a bank shot. A dive in as well. This time, disaster for SK Gaming. Early lead as Meow looks to bring him down. Game 1 going to Zeta Division.
You remember how we talked about stability? We're seeing the other end of the spectrum here in SK Gaming. In the past, they've been known to be a little streaky. And that was a bit of a stinker from them to start off this quarterfinal.
The series in the BSC top 8, 1-1 apiece from these two. 3-1 Zeta one time, and the other 3-2 SK. We know this is going to be tough. SK Gaming at their peak, though, I do think can keep up with the previous world champions.
So low again, already has to use one charge of that gadget. And all of SK Gaming are forced away. So far, this Kenji pick has been utterly countered by Novi. We're now hoping for the arc of that slash to maybe catch onto the Daryl, reveal him at the very least here, but this is oppressive now for Zeta Division. Kenny, they've taken full map control. Lenar is on the outside looking in.
So much pressure being applied by Zeta Division. They're in their spawn and there's no way out. It's going to be a giant robot gatekeeping them here. They have no shield to aid Lana. Joker just trying to keep up with the distance of Meg. Angelo from long distance able to put the pressure, and now they're expanding, moving towards this mid, and they will have an opportunity here to try and strike back.
Quietly, Yoshi's been the difference maker for SK. That poke damage on Meow forces Zeta Division back into their own half of the map. And now SK Gaming have a chance to make something of it. Meow barely gets away alive there. Still needs to respect Lenar as he encroaches on the left. Novi's being kept low as well. SK Gaming has good poke damage. Here's Gero throwing the super down. Joker forced to play in the gas for the time being. He's going low. Lenar up front and center goes for the super, but it's dodged by everybody in Zeta Division. Look, a cut above.
They've simply been better this set. SK Gaming not finding those early frags. They have to find a way to respond here. Once again, the long-range lane on the right-hand end. Middle of the map, team captain Joker looking to apply a little bit of pressure. They need to start off here early. They've been in their back spawn a lot of the time. Here goes Lenon, off to the races. One tap away from bringing Meow down. That would have been so good for them.
This composition, so solid for Zeta Division. It's not flashy at all, but it is very good at doing what it needs to, which is to stay alive. SK Gaming have scored 0 kills over the course of this set thus far. And that might be a trend that continues. One hit of the super, catching on to Novi. Lenar wants more. Meow, though, as low as he is, still represents a significant threat of damage. But there it is. Kuku Papa going to be used to knock the mech out of the mech. And now Novi trying to pressure Joker down. He's missing. Lenar with a super available. And finally, SK Gaming get on the board. They're awake.
1-1 apiece in game 2. That's the aggression we have to see from SK. They have to find that comfortable strategy that's worked for them all year long. It doesn't matter who you're facing off against. Do something you're good at, and better yet, play one of the best, if not the best brawlers in the game while you're doing it.
So now we know their comp works, Kenny, but it means they need a fair amount of poke damage early in the round. Yoshi was huge, especially getting that shield over to Lenar when it was needed. 3 supers up here for SK Gaming. Can they put it together? We've got a ego on the field for Joker. That Lola hitting hard right now.
Gero just lurking in this grass too. Yashi trying to do a scouting report, but he just can't seem to find him quite yet. Navi on the left-hand in, looking for a burst of aggression. Machine gun fire coming out of that mech. Lenon knows he has to get to this early. Shield on Yashi. He's trying to dive in, but the aggressive brawler goes down early. A roll in from Daryl. Yashi slowed down, rendered useless, brought to his knees, and a lone Joker is going to have to find a way to clutch this up.
1 versus 3. As good as Joker is, that might just be a little too much to expect. Good damage output Lola has. But I'm going to give it to you straight, folks. This is virtually impossible. Joker knows it as well, and SK Gaming will concede this set. Taking too long to wake up. And it's Zeta Division that swoop in for a comfortable start.
A little bit of a reality check here for SK Gaming. It was pretty clear in that one that Zeta Division were miles ahead. It's a different game mode we've got coming up. This is a best of 5 here today. They've got a little bit of a margin for error, but not a lot, especially when you're playing against a world champion. You don't want to be in a spot where you're down 1, 2 sets and have to claw your way back to do the impossible.
I think Zeta Division are happy to leave Kenji open. They may have baited it from SK, feeling like they had contingency, feeling like they had a composition that could handle it, and they have demonstrated that. I mean, Meg's so high damage, Daryl so punishing, especially with that tar barrel. Something we really just glossed over. Makes it difficult for Lenar to actually get to his intended target. Yoshi does not have the damage to deal with these 2 tanks when they go for him. And we see Zeta Division exploiting the window where there's no ego available for Joker. We just got picked off prior by Gero in that last clip.
The lowest frag for Zeta Division had as many kills as the entire roster of SK Gaming that set. That's a statement. This team dominated them in the opener. And to your point too, while on ladder for our average player like myself, Lenar playing this Kenji is so good, but when you have professionals drafting, they can make adjustments. I don't think Daryl's too bad of a consolation prize. If anything, to get a shotgun brawler to go into the tank, I think you're right. Zeta Division were more than comfortable letting Kenji go.
And you've got to feel like when we start to get to the end of those knockout rounds and the gas comes in, you have 2 very durable tanks. Daryl, who's hard to kill at the best of times, and Meg, who gets virtually a second life. That matters a whole lot when you're in a race and the gas comes in, you get knocked out of the mech, you get a little bit longer than your opponents to survive. Of course, as you virtually have a 4th brawler in a reserve. We're going to gloss over that if you're an SK fan. You're going to pretend that set never happened. But Zeta Division will be happy to have one in the back pocket heading into Hot Zone.
We're going to take a right-hand turn in terms of game modes. It's going to be Hot Zone. This is Control. The name of the game is holding that center point and playing at the objective here. Kills are nice, kills aren't everything. And I think in terms of brawler pool as well, what we can expect to be selected here going to be very different. You can see that immediately in the ban stage. No Nita, no Stu. You never see that out in the open. Amber being deleted from the options, I think, is a good thing. But on the left-hand side, since they don't have that first overall pick, you're going to see them tend to pick some of the better brawlers in the game. Mo, Surge, Clancy, all very high play rates this weekend.
Other brawlers we've seen on this map, of course, Sprout, been brought in, can block off that center area. Now in dueling beetles, you can't blow up all of the wall on your opponent's side of the map, which also means that Pam has some utility. You can throw that healing turret down and have it protected, but hard to look past your number one brawler here, Kenny. Gale brought in for Zeta.
He is my favorite, and I regret to inform Brawl Nation that his win rate yesterday was atrocious. 14.3%, and he was tied for fourth most played. That's not a good sign, but as an early pick, it is preventative. You probably know that SK Gaming are looking for something aggressive, something tanky, and the ultimate shutdown to that is the old man on the right-hand side.
We've seen Gale played in side lanes here. Tends to get outranged a lot of the time, but is able to move up. Twister also very powerful to lock someone on their own half of the map, and SK are adamant that this Kenji pick is where they want to be, but this time they really telegraph it at the start of the draft, giving Zeta Division plenty of room to play around it, and Hot Zone and Lu go together like peanut butter and jelly.
Makes sense, but it's a really early pick. On the other end, they haven't even selected a tanky option. Traditionally, we'll see that be a response. They won't be proactive with a Lu pick. They'll respond to what the other side does. It's a good pick for the mode. I feel like if you had to tier list the brawlers, though, he'd be no means an S tier or even an A tier brawler in my books.
Yeah, we saw him brought in, I think, on some knockout maps yesterday. Might even have been Luminosity that attempted to make that work. Lily picked up here, okay. This is fun. Obviously, Lily has the ability to enter the same shadow realm that Cordelius sends people to and pop up, use it to reposition behind opponents. Also has a super that represents a gap close and damage nuke. She is someone you do not want to get at your Lu.
That gadget is just absolutely insane. If any brawler in the game has that gadget, they're immediately meta viable. That's just part of it. And once she's in your face, she's going to be really aggressive. Obviously, Lily's have a lot of tweaks here and there, but at professional level, you'll see her come out every once in a while. So now they've got their aggressive option. This is going to be how they sneak in. I love this Larry Laurie pick.
This draft is nuts.
He was a top 5 banned brawler yesterday, and I feel like he's a sneaky one. People forget about him, but because of that indestructible wall, Lu's not going to be able to get to him. Kenji's going to have to get some creepy peek shots, kind of sneak around. It's going to take a lot to get up to him, and on top of that, out of all the throwers, he is the most able, because of Laurie on his side, to help out against people like that, because he's got 2 options to shoot at one guy.
You might want to try and outrange the Larry and Laurie with a thrower of your own here, though. That, for SK Gaming, could be an option. Cordelia's picked up instead, so we have such an interesting interaction here between both of these, I guess, what do we call them? Enchanted Forest Brawlers? They both make use of the Shadow Realm as a separate area in the game. Cordelius might be intended here to specifically shut the Lily down.
This is such an interesting dynamic because, like you said, we don't too often at a casual or even professional level get to see multiple brawlers go to the underworld. This is a little bit crazy. Larry Laurie makes this interesting. A lot of differences in terms of draft opinion, but SK Gaming, it's time to wake up, folks. Zeta Division looking to continue their world streak.
That's been time to wake up, Kenny. But hey, getting started now wouldn't be the worst. Gero's already got himself into the back line there with Yoshi absolutely flattened by Meow there. Joker really has nowhere to go. He's able to get Gero as a consolation, but Lenar less focused on capturing this area, more on trying to run down the rest of Zeta Division. He's found himself 2, but Novi was able to spend a decent amount of time on the point itself. Gero wants Yoshi, and again, the Lu is down. Lenar can't even fight against this Lily.
The Joker ready with a super, a perfect connection as well, but he can't get anything on that hot zone while underneath. So I think Gero going to be happy to take this trade. Nashi now right-hand side, and once again, Lanaz going hunting. Navi very close to him. Larry grouped up with him. He's going for the double tag, has a super available, not going to use it yet. Joker still at the ready, and now has a hypercharge, a dive in, slice and dice for Kenji, and Joker's going to tie this up.
Here's the problem for the thrower on this map. You actually can't contest the point as Meow. You need a teammate to be there, and you can support them with your longer range damage. Joker eventually falls, but Yoshi dancing amongst the snowflakes here, having thrown a super down, getting SK Gaming into the lead. Here comes Lenar, a little bit low, but plenty of targets to choose from now. It's another lorry that has to be dealt with. Meow is a little bit low. Joker with a jump. Dodges the shot. Stunned up to the right hand side. And Novi's got his hands full. Pulled now into the Shadow Realm.
Perfect tech by Larry Laurie. Perfect super from Joker. This is the best of both of these teams right now. 70% roughly apiece as Yoshi is back in the fray. Lenon on the prowl. Left-hand side. Garo
Even
gonna
game.
be dueling. Here comes a double tag. Meow gets connected with once. Some snow cones tagging him up as well. But it's still Zeta by a narrow margin.
Oh, we see Lenar trying to go to the top side, catches out Meow. Now SK Gaming are catching up. They're in the lead. Joker able to get a super on Garo, basically rendering the Lily useless for the time being. 94% and counting. Joker and Yoshi stacked up. Here comes Zeta Division, but it's too little, too late. Now we have a game.
Neck and neck here. SK Nation getting loud. This stadium erupting after SK finally claim a game. Zeta Division right there with them. This is more of what I expected to see.
Such an interesting interaction between the Lily and the Cordelius. Garo into the Shadow Realm already. Yoshi has to be aware of it. Actually steps forward away from his safe bush, preempting the Lily's foray into enemy territory. Lenar should have Meow dead to right. CS/Emi doesn't connect though. Garo forces Joker to jump away, but Yoshi's been on the point. Gadget used there to get some extra percentage, and SK Gaming are in good shape. Lenar's a problem. He's in the back line. The cat amongst the pigeons. Novi gonna go down as well. Meow finally silences the Kenji.
They needed that one desperately. SK Gaming's entire roster falls. They've got Ice Cream covering the map, though. Yoshi grabs a kill. Lana already back in action. Meow forced to flank aggressively. Ideally, he'd be in position to try and deal with the other side. Joker with a jump in. It's a trade.
Meow's down.
Lana can't trade this either. Lily was underneath,
Dude,
and now
super.
Zeta Division respond.
Great Gale Force there from Novi. Very timely. Stunning out both of those SK Gaming brawlers. Joker has his hyper up. Garo can't really go anywhere from that corner, so Lenar takes an easy elimination. Here comes Joker. Jump over. Gets Novi into the Shadow Realm, and it's all SK Gaming all the way. Now with a healthy lead. 20% and counting. Garo with a super up, but who's the safe target? It's a hypercharge here for Yoshi. A super will stun them instantly, and it's a carnage sight in the spawn of Zeta Division. SK way ahead.
Garo, the last man standing, holding on to a super and a glimmer of HP. Yoshi holding down the fort in the mid. Joker, impeccable defense
90.
here, and they're climbing almost to 100.
95.
Indestructible, it's down to Joker here. A few
One
more
more.
percentage points will do the trick. A dice in from Lana, and SK Gaming tie things up.
And a bit of energy there from the young prodigy. Joker gets the crowd hype. The draft for SK Gaming, they knew exactly what they wanted here on Dueling Beetles. Picked up the Kenji instantly. Took the Lu for that map control, and the Cordelius to answer the assassin threat of Lily. Played out to perfection.
Joker knows he's got a home field advantage here, too. You can see him hyping up that crowd. Get them loud when you've got home court advantage. I know this is EMEA all around, but SK fans, Totem fans, there's a few of these big organizations in Brawl that have just made it count a little bit more. Anything you can give these guys, any small advantage makes a difference, especially in games like this first one, when it came down to just a mere few percentage points.
And it's the kind of game where Lenar looks like the flashy one, right? The engine room is Joker. This Cordelius, so effective, and not only countering Garo out, but also being a very solid assassin in his own right. This was even overkill at this point. Yoshi using a hypercharged super in Zeta Division spawn. The fact that SK Gaming had the wherewithal to be able to make a play like that means they were feeling confident and comfortable.
This was an unorthodox draft as well, and to your point, 427 DPS from Joker, team captain, with a
It's so
10-piece. That's a really weird draft, too. I feel like the fact that he handled that so well, it felt like those gadget timings were on point. He was taking down Gale, which is huge, because if he takes down Gale, he frees up who? Lana, the guy they want in the faces of these enemies. If Lana can focus on the squishy Larry and Laurie, which is what we saw in those two games, they're playing that strategy to perfection.
That's a nightmare game for Meow. He has nothing to do, really. He knows that there's no one on his team that can really stop the Kenji. Yes, if the Lily can get a 1 versus 1, then maybe. But there was no way Joker was allowing that to happen. Marking Garo all across the map. It's one apiece in this series now as SK Gaming have truly come alive. And with a crowd like that behind them, who knows where this stops?
Early game jitters are out of the way. And now we're on to Pinball Dreams, a little Brawl Ball action here, a fan favorite from the folks at home. And I think a team like SK Gaming that love these tanky brawlers are so flashy for this game mode.
These bans are pretty similar to what we've seen in the past. Zeta Division, if they don't pick Larry and Laurie, they really want to get rid of it. Also, the Nita band away. They get first pick this draft, though, when they take the Kenji. SK Gaming, known Kenji abusers, they'd have to have a way to play around it here.
Kenji, the most banned brawler yesterday for a reason. We've already seen him twice today. Every time he has escaped the ban stage, he has been picked pretty early on. Makes a lot of sense, too. I mean, he's healing, he does damage. It plays a lot into what you want to see as a brawler. In Rico, I think a really good response. Rico is a fantastic brawler in this meta. That hypercharge does so much damage.
Yeah, it's another Joker brawler picked up there, no doubt about it. Gale as well coming in. Again, we saw him struggle to have great impact against the Kenji on Dueling Beetles just now. But it's a different map and it's also a different context. Gale being able to stun multiple people with Super when they're on the back foot, when they're playing defensively inside their own goals, can basically guarantee a goal for your team. It's probably a Yoshi pick here, so once more SK are hiding the Lenar brawler.
Ooh, and a little bit of Stu coming in, the stuntman on the stage. I like this. I think it's a really dynamic pick. Gives you a lot of versatility. You can be aggressive, charge those supers. More supers means more super shots. I feel like this is a pretty good brawler that doesn't have a lot of meta counters right now. I think both of these teams could probably look at a thrower, especially when I'm looking at SK Gaming side. They've got Rico, they've got Gale. They could go with an aggressive option as their final pick, but having something like a thrower can get a lot of pinning down of the enemies here. And instead, they're just going to go for the biggest bad in Brawl Stars. El Primo going to be delivering a punch.
Can strip the ball with that suplex, and also his super has an interrupt component to it. Can cover a lot of ground and is generally a nuisance to peel off you. One thing's for sure, this Gale is going to have plenty to do on Pinball Dreams. As he's going to be trying to push back Meow, Gero, and Noe respectively. This is a very aggressive, a very all-in composition for Zeta Division. And at this point, SK can't be thinking about how to counter the Stu because there are three brawlers that warrant counters in and of themselves, and Colette is going to round out this composition for SK.
I was going to say, you have to deal with the plethora of health points on this other side. And I was trying to rack my brain of what brawlers do you select. Colette, the tank counter of tank counters, is perfect here. I think it actually makes a lot of sense. They could even go with something like Push It for a defensive mechanism. I actually don't mind this at all. I think this is going to be a pretty solid pick.
I like Push It a lot. It's going to combine, of course, with Lenar's Super Gale Force in being able to stave off these aggressive brawlers. So it's Zeta Division with the aggressive comp. SK Gaming want to be on defense here. Let's see how it plays out in our third set.
This is a big set as well. Whoever takes it's going to have a lead and be on one set away from making it to day number 3 of the World Finals. Lenar starting off on the right-hand side. The normally aggressive brawler is able to handle the other side, but narrowly. Yoshi already has a supercharged up Joker, a menace on this brawler as well. SK positioning themselves here very early.
There's the Gale Force from Yoshi, and Novi has nothing to do. Gero here as well takes a ton of poke damage, and in comes Meow with the elbow of justice. How are they going to get rid of this El Primo? Pure damage, says Joker, and I've got plenty of it.
Joker meets him in the middle with a lot of shots to the face. SK Gaming, great defense. They have not been able to escape this spawn, and now Navi's back on the prowl. Gero, right hand in, looking at Lenar. The stun goes through. Yoshi can't quite secure the kill, though. That pesky Kenji in his heels gets away.
And there it is, Meow. I can't quite connect, though. Lenar having to use a gotcha gadget earlier on. It's a tough fight to beat Gero here. Navi wants to push up Joker, though, with the hypercharge. Bullets flying everywhere, but Lenar goes down. Gero's going to be a problem for this Rico, and Joker doesn't even bother trying to deal with the Stu. Yoshi needs a big super here, maybe hyper it, and it does come through. 2 waves of Gale Force pushes Meow back. Another one. Yoshi is cycling those supers like a boss.
SK with a breakaway down the left-hand end. Gero trying to defend. Meow back. Kenji in the fray as well. There's a dive in. Lenar doesn't get the kill, though. Navi and teammates will be able to push through. Gero back in ball control.
And now we know the Colette does have Push It as a star power, so it's just displacement, not the shielding from mass attacks that you more often look to take. Meow here with that hypercharge up. Lenar wants to be the one pressuring the Primo down, and so he does. Hypercharge super comes in for the Colette. Lenar definitely walks outside of that Slashini X radius, but Gero at least is able to trade. Ball is cornered. Classic SK play, but they still need a goal before they can fall back. Another super from Yoshi, making space for Joker.
Yoshi hasn't been a flashy pick, but he sure as heck has been defensive. Meow hasn't been able to break away yet. Here comes Joker with some tags. Meow with the dive in, taking flight, makes a connection, take down alongside it. Now SK on the back line. 15 to go on the shot clock, and Zeta are trying to position themselves here. Ball left, right in SK's hands though.
Here comes Lunar again, gets rid of Meow once more. Yoshi again, rinse and repeat, super onto Novi. Gero has to super back towards his goals, but here is overtime. Lunar tried to make a shot, but Novi is too low. Meow will hold possession and corner the ball.
Little preemptive fire there from Lunar. Tried to time it just right, but two bodies were standing in his path alongside the goal. Now it's been cornered towards this top left side. A skate away, a dodge. Lunar goes down. Yoshi making a push here. A tag onto Meow, stuns him out of the ball, but a breakaway opportunity for Zeta Division. The red roster with a chance here.
Lunar back off spawn though. Joker under pressure. Lets the super go. Can't dodge the Kenji super. Goal! Novi ends it in overtime. What a first round!
That was only game number 1, Uber. Everybody take a deep breath. We are in for a roller coaster ride here. Two EMEA Titans trying to show why they deserve to take this big stage, why they deserve a day number 3, and now they're battling at their best for a set 3.
SK need to pivot off their map control. Once they get position, they need to convert into a goal. That was their biggest problem in the previous round. Zeta just kept coming back off spawn, relentless, and eventually overwhelmed them.
Joker gonna slow down a little bit. Looks for these tags, goes in the mid. Lunar popping a gadget, a perfect dodge out of Navi there. Now Lunar looking at him again. The slice and the dice. It's one goes down. 386 HP, and Lunar's running for the hills. He has to corner this ball.
That's a terrible matchup for Lunar. He does not want to be spending this round fighting Navi. That's where Yoshi needs to be. But now they're able to win it out at least with the gotcha gadget. No, it's Navi into super instead. Here's the elbow from Meow. Yoshi suplexed out of the way, and it's virtually an open goal as Gero can slot it in.
Perfect start here for Zeta Division. A much earlier goal in game number 2. But SK Gaming not wavering here. A lot of belief in this stadium for their fellas here in blue. Zeta surrounding this ball, but an early pickup here from SK Gaming. Now's the time to push.
Yoshi, another super. Novi just blown to smithereens. Gero down. This is SK's time. They now have to turn this into a goal. But Meow's in the way. Suplexes Yoshi out of possession of the ball. We'll see a twister thrown up in front of goal, but SK cannot get possession again. Lunar low. Meow will duck back to pick it up, and Joku is in trouble.
Joker in trouble and missed a huge super there. He survives, but they only get away with 1 kill. Yoshi thrown over the shoulders of Meow. They had an opportunity. They have to capitalize here. This is another takedown. Zeta once again on their back heels, and Lunar is cooking with a hypercharge.
Gero's in no hurry right now. Zeta Division have that 1 goal lead. Here's the super from Kenji. Yoshi waits it out, and SK have a chance to attack now. Once again, it's the El Primo, though, that stands in their way.
Gero left in the net. Navi off the respawn. Meow taking his time. Lots of hypercharges available. A lot of util that they can click at a moment's notice, and the big playmaker on the other end now has to play
Classy.
defense. Lenan with the first one. Bounce shots connecting to Meow. Gero skating over for assistance here. Joker deliberating what to do. Meow fist flying, dives in. Meow intercepts. Joker survives. Yoshi has the hypercharge. He has to push forward. 13 on the clock.
10
Yoshi,
seconds.
an open net. He slides it through. We're going to overtime.
Wouldn't have it any other way. Zeta Division on the precipice of winning the set now. Have to do it in extra innings. Here comes Gero, supering forward. Yoshi with a hypercharge just for the base stats, apparently. Novi in his fate, goes for a super. Lunar taken down, and Gero from out in front will seal the deal. Zeta Division take Brawl Ball.
Advantage Zeta Division here. A heated rivalry between two of EMEA's finest. And the defending world champions are showing how fierce they truly are. This has been back and forth the whole way. That's exactly what we saw in this Brawl Ball set. I can't help but think back though. SK Gaming certainly had some opportunities, some missed shots, some missed supers. Zeta Division's mechanics just looked a little bit better.
This to me though is reminiscent of what we saw on that knockout set, Kenny. Zeta Division favor these higher health pool brawlers and eventually hit a critical mass where they overwhelm SK Gaming, who again are playing pretty flashy comps, right? We love the Rico, the Gale, the Colette even picked here. But it felt like a very reactionary move from SK to bring the Colette to answer some of these big health pools. And in fairness, it looked good. Lunar looked really, really good here. But once he burnt through those gadgets, it got a little bit too much. And look at the damage differential. This is the difference that is made by bringing in these hefty tanks. And I've got to say, Novi, on that Kenji, doing well to secure positive matchups after spending so long getting Gale forced into boxes over and over again.
That's part of Brawl Stars. Sometimes health points are enough, even though there was so much damage being applied by this SK Gaming roster. The defense, great. They couldn't hold on long enough. There's only so many opportunities after so many spawns. One kill, and there's 15,000 health points of El Primo just sprinting at you. You can only hold off for so long.
It's just too much to deal with, and the El Primo doesn't really have to do anything overly special. Can strip the ball, though, from plays where still Yoshi was threatening a goal. He got suplexed back into Zeta Division's net and lost possession. And SK were in no position to recoup the ball and actually make a shot on goal. Zeta Division had not only a very solid comp, but great contingencies as well.
Now we're moving on to last stop. Completely different game mode and an opportunity. SK Gaming have 3 players on this roster that have come so close. But to be honest with you, we give them a lot of credit at this international stage. Yoshi made a Final Four last year, but other than that, these guys have been good in the regular season, haven't exploded in the postseason. This is a legacy match for these fellas. An opportunity to take this big organization, this huge fan base to the promised land here of day 3. That's something this team has lacked.
And boy, those fans have been waiting. SK Gaming Nation have been frothy at the mouth to finally see a team go all the way. And this is an ambitious project. Younger guns on this SK Gaming roster, Lenara and Joker coming in to try and give them that moonshot. Here's a Surge picked up who, to my knowledge, performed really well yesterday.
Yeah, 71.4% win rate, tied for the 4th most plays. I'll take that all day long, Uber. Last stop here, too. I think a big part of him as well, the unpredictability of that hypercharge, when it's guaranteed to land some shots to explode, so much damage can be applied. And this is also just a great answer into any aggression. If you want to get aggressive, Surge is going to shadow that brawler. Get those free tags so they can get to that tier 2, tier 3, and heck, that tier 4 stage is unbelievable.
Yeah, absolutely terrifying to face Surge down at that stage of the game. Gem grab here, so a safe mid in Gus being picked up by Meow. Also someone who can empower those more aggressive side laners to move up, bully their opponents out, and take that map control. Clancy's available. We've seen that sort of looked at on some of these gen grab maps, more hard rock mine and maybe some of the more close-quartered ones. Last stop is a little bit more open in some areas, but Amber also been targeted by Banton. Here's that aforementioned Clancy, Zeta Division, snap it up. So both teams with a brawler that loves the long game.
And both these brawlers, top 5 selections yesterday. This has been concrete parts of our meta. They're constantly going to be making appearances here. Gus, his play rate wasn't great, but this is a whole new map and mode. We'll see how it goes. I'm mixed emotions just because I do
It's really, like 30% win rate, right?
Yeah, it's 1/3 of the time yesterday that he won. And obviously, the game mode's different, the map pool different. But I think the sentiment still remains the same. The damage is something that's going to be an issue. He powers up allies, but if your teammates aren't exploding, if they're not taking advantage of their shield, heck, if you miss a shield, it's so costly. And I love this response from SK Gaming. They're going to go with a mid of their own that's going to outrange, out-DPS the Gus. So in terms of lane diff, we would hope that that Piper would be better than the Gus in a one-on-one.
And in theory, that means SK Gaming have priority, maybe an early gem lead. The ability to let their side laners go ham. Tara getting picked up here. I mean, she can obviously now with that hypercharge blow terrain apart with that use of gravity. Also, like help from beyond can be very effective against those single shot brawlers, but again, a little bit of an eyebrow raiser, this pick.
Definitely. It's been a while. It's funny, too, because last year the meta didn't really revolve around Tara at this time either, but I still remember last stop, Tara showing up. I think in Gym Grab specifically, when you have a super, and now Tara obviously equipped with a hypercharge since then.
Which makes her super bigger.
Exactly. Which is easier to hit, disrupts the gym count. If you just need one big play, Tara might be the brawler to count on. However, this counter pick on the other side, it is a tank, but you can get rid of any effect of that pull from Tara's super. This might be the answer that Zeta Division need.
I love the quick response from the Buster here for Zeta. Trying to book their tickets to the semifinals with a win over regional rivals SK Gaming. By the way, it's not that it's acrimonious. These guys are friends. I got smashed by Joker and Novi at table football the other day, so they hang out. But still, this game means so much to both of them, and SK Gaming now need to force a set 5.
and a regional pride on the line. A day 3 ticket to the World Finals on the line, and Joker starting out early with a couple taps. Yoshi there to secure one as well. It's gonna take him a sec, but he has to find a way to get up in Buster's face. Make a few tags here. There's the second. He needs one more, and he'll be at a tier 2 stage.
Meow has to make a gadget. Who's there to dodge away? Lenar with some help from the Beyond. Looking to pressure down. It was Joker catching Gero though. And that will allow SK Gaming to get a healthy little lead here. Notice that Joker uses Poppin to blow up the bushes and make it dangerous for that Buster to emerge.
Lenar now getting pulled in. It's going to be a dangerous one here. Survives the lane. Left-hand side goes Zeta Division's way, though. Joker looking for a gadget. Doesn't quite connect. Always a disappointing feeling when the auto-aim doesn't quite hit.
Still though, Joker and Lenar splitting the map. It's going to have to be the Buster coming in from above with that montage super. Now has just hit level 2. Novi can take map control behind that super now, and he does. Joker at 9 gems though. There's a gravity thrown down. Healing Shade doesn't quite make it to Lenar when Novi's able to bring him down. Joker's in trouble. He's got to get out with the pop-in. 1 gem away are SK Gaming.
And now they've gotten all their bushes revealed. Joker has to be super careful. Meow still hasn't made it to a tier 3, but if he does, this gets dangerous. Navi with a super, and now Lenar falls once again. Yoshi under pressure. Joker can't make a move, and SK Gaming are just left away.
Pops the hype, but that's a big hit on Meow. Should let Lenar into these bushes to pressure the Clancy. Now just dodging one of those shots. Yoshi, not the one you want to fight the Buster apparently. And Joker still sitting on 9 gems, now is in danger.
Meow got away with one there. He was able to hide, and this gym count increasing by the second. They haven't found a way to deal with the right or the left lane. Yoshi diving in. He has to make a move. There's one. Hypercharge Madness going down. Meow low HP. He narrowly dodges, though. The counter! A sharpshooter shot connects, but Gero's one away.
Here comes Lenar. Big super. It's massive! And it strips all the gems from Zeta Division. Meow can only look on now as Lenar gets away with the heist of the century.
There's the big play that they needed. Tara makes it count when it matters most. SK Gaming coming alive here in game number 1 of set 4. And now they're one away from taking us to set 5.
The last pick, Tara, with the playmaking potential. It's a hypercharged super from Lenar, dropped down, and 9 gems spilled. What a comeback for SK.
One big play is all you need in this game mode. They were outclassed in the second half of game number 1, but if they get a good one here, that's all it takes. That's the X factor Tara brings. And now Joker back in position and already with an early gym count here.
Now getting aggressive despite only being rank 1 there, Kenny. Yoshi goes in, now be able to use that instant replay to draw him in. That's going to be a gravity from Lenar. A lot of loose gems here. Joker back in position, but the kooky popper is going to force him off that line.
Yoshi a wide open right-hand side lane. Gero backed up, pressure being applied from Lenar. Nalby trying to move forward, and there's the perfect pull that they needed. Joker forced away and barely survives.
Still though, 3 gems to SK Gaming's name. They are in this. Still level 1 though is Yoshi. Yet to really get rolling. Holding onto that super now to try and use it to close the gap, but that's a torrent from Meow that vaporizes him.
Lenar still holding on to this hypercharge. Some extra gadgets. He's not quite sure where these guys are. A little bit of scouting report done. Does his due diligence. Now he's sneaking up with a backhand line. Joker gets one. There's the pull, but he can't get it fully. Gero down. Yoshi moving in now, and gems being collected for SK. They are a narrow lead.
But now Novi is carrying the gems. Can he be nearly as aggressive while he is the player that has the win condition in hand? Yoshi wants to come forward at level 3. He's looking scary, but Novi has super available.
Hypercharge for Joker. Long range shots. He's playing it carefully, looking for that extra speed. Meow down low, has to dive away. And Gero looking to match. Navi slowly bringing the Zeta Division push up, and this is going to be all evened out if they're not careful.
Yoshi with the hypercharge goes aggressive. He needs to get to Navi though. The shots bouncing around the corner. Put some serious pressure on the Buster. But Gero snaps another gem up. It's 9-7. One more for SK, and Navi knows it. He's got to come forward, but Yoshi hits harder. And now we have a countdown. Beautiful gravity from Lenar. And Gero is on the outside looking in.
And SK Gaming have 10 gems in Joker's pocket. And Zeta Division see the writing on the wall. Guess what, Brawl Nation?
Here we go!
EMEA is giving you your very best. Set 5 to open day number 2.
Haymaker after haymaker being thrown from these superstar EMEA teams. Let's have a look back over this gem grab set, which really felt like it was decided for some huge Tara supers, and Yoshi finally getting involved in that last round to close it out.
I got real nervous for SK Gaming, I'll be honest with you. They were looking so good off the start of that game one, and slowly but surely, Zeta Division crept in with complete control. Isolating the left side, isolating the right. There was nowhere for them to move. A big-time Lana play is what made the difference in both sets. One hypercharged Tara pool changed everything. 291 DPS, and I know he wasn't leading the kill category. I know it wasn't a perfect set for him, but you don't need perfect, you just need a win.
It's another example of a Gus game that doesn't look good on paper here, Kenny. Gero first picks that safe mid and really hopes that the Gus Super is going to allow the Buster probably to close the gap in a big way, but I don't think the Zeta Division were ready for that Tara. That really throws a spanner in the works. Their plan of using their tanky brawler to come forward. Lana says, I will fight you head to head. I will throw this super down and I will take you down.
The surprise attack factor, especially on a map like that where it's two very narrow, skinny lanes that are covered in grass. If you get one launch of that pool, changes everything. He's the X factor. They play around this guy, and that's exactly what they did in the set number 4. When your season is on the line, when there's no more room for error, you count on your star player.
It's crazy to think that this is the same SK Gaming we saw come out in that first set and look pretty lifeless. Now, though, they are brimming with vitality. Now, we have a decider set. Couldn't ask for a better game here as we head to Shooting Star.
This
for our
one's
tiebreaker.
This one's going to be special. Bounty, where we're going to. And yesterday we got to see this map. Gus is certainly in the equation here. Byron, Bell, fun fact, second most picked brawler yesterday. Obviously a lot of knockout and a lot of bounty in that mix. So I wouldn't be surprised if we saw her here today. 10 plays, 60% win rate. At a professional level, you'll take that all day.
I mean, the nest egg is just too good, Kenny. So important to catch out enemy brawlers and give yourself at least 2 stars upon that elimination. Very, very hotly contested. Angelo, going to be taken away first here for SK Gaming. A great pick to start the draft with.
He escapes the ban stage, and he was the 3rd most banned yesterday. I'm curious if this was very intentional. I'm seeing 2 throwers there, so Zeta Division definitely have something in mind, right? You don't throw out a Sprout and a Tick, 2 pretty overall on meta brawlers. They're occasionally picked here, but I think it's because they want to make a certain brawler shine.
Larry and Laurie?
And I'm curious who that is. Yeah, maybe they want that leftover thrower, or maybe they just want a better matchup for themselves. They know something deep down. This had to be very intentional, though.
Yeah, again, I mean, both can outrange Larry and Laurie. The Tick's a problem for Larry in general. Pipe are going to be picked up, so Zeta Division sort themselves out a sharpshooter. And if they're going to pick a specific thrower, it might have to be here, lest SK Gaming sniff out their strategy and take it for themselves.
I think Piper a very safe first selection for their side on this 2-3 turn. You got to get it right. All you have left at the end is just response to what SK Gaming to. So they want to start with a solid foundation. They have that long range. They have a dynamic playmaker. They have a great gadget selection, a brawler with a hyper charge. I like what they're doing here. And they're pairing it with Jean, who is traditionally a great Piper counter. They've got the Magic Puffs ability, the evil spirits they can send out. That chip damage normally really affects the other side. So I think pairing these two makes a lot of sense practically.
We've seen Jean be pretty terrifying. We've seen Rival also go for a Jean Grey composition that used like a Grey walking cane into a Jean magic hand to secure a kill. That was one of the most exciting plays of yesterday. But Jean alone, who's been banned a lot through the course of this series, especially on those knockout maps, is always a threat. And the Carl picked up here for SK Gaming. How about some all-in potential for you?
Yeah, I mean, this is aggressive. This isn't a tank, but it's certainly aggressive. They're pairing it with a Gus. Now they've got the bubble. They can apply that to somebody at one Carl and make sure that he stays nice and healthy. A tailspin on top of that. And a good thing for them, too, especially for this game, but especially on this map, one flying hook guarantees a blue star every time. And that is something so crucial at a professional level.
And SK's comp here, despite Carl being present, does want to be defensive. They do need to look out for the Jean poke damage and the inevitable magic hand development. They're going to have to find a way to mitigate that. Maybe they hope the Carl gets hooked. He can obviously get a bubble from that Gus and go in and be terrifyingly strong and have a lot of extra health. And so we go for the Pearl here. It's a safe pick. It's not the most exciting, but again, in these longer rounds, Pearl is an absolute menace.
A lot of poke damage and a very pesky brawler. This is going to be a very annoying composition to deal with if you're SK Gaming. They can constantly put pressure on you. It's going to take a lot here. 2-2 overall in the standings. The margin for error has been reduced to 0, Brawl Nation. One set to decide it all.
Vengeful Spirits here. The gadget pick up for the Gene. There's no potential really for all in outside of the Carl, and clearly Zeta aren't worried about it. Lamp blowout though wouldn't have been shocking either. Gero poked down early, and of course that blue star already going over to SK Gaming.
Lana still in the mid, hovering around this wall, just trying to be annoying, a nuisance into Zeta Division. Yashi has the shield already ready too. He's got a Cookie Popper available. Navi's gonna now have to watch for that.
Joker here pops super down. Can play that line a little more aggressively, but still has to respect Gero's damage. Now we'll look to step forward. It's up to Zeta Division to figure this out. They need to get Meow's super online, put Navi in a position where he can fully commit. Gero flashing a homemade recipe, Lenar able to outrange it.
It's a lot of action.
Big damage!
No kills, and the first one pops. Yashi grabs one. Navi trying to get aggressive here. I think this is a little bold. Angelo makes a tag. Lana wants more, though. He has a shield applied to him, and they force out a super from Gero, but the pull goes through. Response from Zeta Division.
They get the blue star, but they're still behind by 1 Kenny. Every magic hand has to connect here for Zeta Division. Lunar's the most durable brawler on SK Gaming and will still instantly get blown up if he gets hooked in. It's a little bit dangerous for Lunar there. Novi coming up on that right side, telegraphing a potential all-in here.
Now they're back against their walls. The Evil Spirit, it does connect to Lana. Zeta Division now with the lead. Hypercharge popped as well, so they can have a quicker escape route. And now it's going to come down to SK Gaming. They have to get aggressive.
And they have to go in with a Carl, but that's a problem. If Novi builds a super, you cannot dive a Pearl when she has that super available. You will be blown up instantly. 10 seconds left, and SK Gaming trying to find a little bit of poke damage. Yoshi comes forward, super ready. Lana has to go in, hooked in, dive. There's going to be a jump from Yao. Still, SK Gaming come out on top. Full commitment, full trust, full force.
The highest pressure situation you could possibly have here in Brawl Stars. These fellas putting everything on the line. What looked bleak for a moment is now SK Gaming on match points.
It doesn't get much closer than that, Kenny. SK Gaming have to breathe a sigh of relief for having got away with that in the first place. The Gene is a problem. It's very scary to deal with Meow. Here's the Vengeful Spirits again. Good poke. Homemade recipe almost claims the blue star.
SK once again backed up to their spawn side. Still the star advantage. They're playing this defensively. They don't have to overdo it. Normally a really aggressive comp, but they're going to be passive aggressive on this one. They're going to look for a mistake from Zeta Division and then strike.
They know they're going to be defensive because of their ability to get that early blue star. But they're giving up a lot of map control. Lenar just steps out in the open. That's the blue star handed over to Zeta.
Zeta Division now with a narrow lead. 1 star, the difference maker. Time dwindling on in both these sides, just trying to charge up utility. Joker pierces a shot through that indestructible wall and not looking to get in position.
Dangerous!
That's over-aggression. Mistake coming out of Joker.
I get it. He saw Meow was low. He knew he had the blue star as well. But an uncharacteristic overheat from the youngster. Here comes Gero now. Hypercharge. Getting a stat boost. Lenar is certainly going to drop here. Nice shield from Joker, but he won't walk away. Still, blue star back to SK. It's a 2-star deficit for the team in blue.
That's important. Even though they're down, blue star matters. When not diving in, they're going for a little positioning here. They have to set themselves up for one final push. Crucial miss out of Meow.
Composure now for SK Gaming. They know what they have to do. They need Yoshi super online. And Lenar needs to build one too. They need to be able to full engage here or get some ghosts set up for Cookie Popper activations for the Gus.
Joker now, shot clock available. 1 kill possibly away from day number 3. Lenar in position, Yashi flanks. Now he on the left hand in. Yashi looking for get him in position. This could be a rewrite of the previous game. It's Lanavi chasing him down, and they've done it! SK Gaming! If you want to seize the crown, you have to dethrone the Kings! SK Gaming have put the world champions to the sword!
SK Gaming turn a 2-star deficit into a 1-star lead, and that, folks, is all they need to send last year's world champions home.
What a miraculous final game there. Back-to-back games. Look at this. Came down to the final seconds. Lana low HP. He dies with 2 seconds left. And one single shot from Joker changed the entire game. This game number 2, a repeat. Lana once again in position. Yoshi with the flank and Joker with a big time shot here. And Lana scoops up the rest. The kill count actually favoring Zeta Division's side. That is tragic.
And that's how the cookie crumbles. Zeta Division just having a couple of extra stars to be taken from them in those final moments. Kero consistently great damage over the course of Bounty. But we saw both rounds come down to the very dying seconds. And for a team like SK to be able to orchestrate a comeback of that magnitude within such a small window, that's special. You don't see that every day. In fact, we rarely ever see that at all.
This World Finals has just been unbelievable. Yesterday, best of 3, as it felt like we were going toe-to-toe on this stage with every single team. The 2 seed, the 3 seed, throw it out the window. When you get to this level, every team is just fighting for their lives to the point where a world champion goes down in our quarterfinals. MVP for the people at home, the man that revolves around SK Gaming's entire plan, Lana.
Had a big job. Playing the Carl on Bounty means that he had to be the one ultimately to choose to decide when to go in. We talked about the win condition. Make sure Yoshi can give him a shield. Send Lana in. And it's the classic Swiss guy go kill strategy for SK Gaming that pays off in the very end. But none of that would work without Joker in the background, pulling the strings, the mastermind here for SK Gaming. That was a set that ought to be studied. And I'll give you something else for homework, folks. Let's check our bracket and see how things stand as of the end of our first quarterfinal. SK Gaming advanced to take on the winner of Humble and Pioneers, making it to the semi-finals. And something tells me it might just be destiny for this team.
I couldn't help but wince just thinking about the team that's going to have to play SK Gaming next, and it's possibly the number 1 seed in EMEA. Pioneers be a strong opponent for them as well, coming up just a little bit later down the line. And on that lower side of the bracket, still more EMEA action. Reply Totem there, Rival Esports, a surprise team from this tournament. And now Crazy Raccoon, they see Zeta Division out of the way, and I'm sure they're not too upset about it.
Oh, buddy, absolutely. The bottom part of that bracket also promises to tell a compelling story. Coming up next, it's a question of whether this Pioneer squad from North America, the team that looked to be the best in the region for most of the year, can they handle the heat that Humble are bringing? What do you think? Event.brawlstars.com. Head over there, get your predictions in, and get yourself some fantastic in-game loot, including potential hypercharge. You can see how much of a difference those have been making over the course of these games. It's been a pleasure to be in the booth. Mitch Leslie, Kenny Barlow. We're headed to a break. When we come back, it will be Pioneers versus Humble in our second quarterfinal.
The 2024 Brawl Stars World Finals are brought to you by ESL, Monster Energy, and DHL.
Once upon a brawl, a new evil emerged. A handsome young minstrel who once charmed crowds, now fallen to darkness, his smile but a shroud. A mischievous feline known for his cute paws, now a master thief, unlocking chests and doors. A healing guitar and a friendly face, now a flaming skull, kindness gone without a trace. A delicious cookie baker, one of the best. Now a haunted castle, a ghoulish guest. This automaton once served juice. Now with his sword, your head he'll make loose. A knight turned into a nightmare. Nani and Peep now only want to stare. A fairy tale ending? No, a scary tale beginning!
People often ask, how can I do become a world championship winner? What must I do to get Abs of Steel and Fist of Fury? The answer? Gimnasio Vivo! You will learn to summon strength, summon asteroids, and serve a spicy jalapeno knuckle sandwich to even the strongest of brawlers. Fight with el fuego in your heart. It will not be easy, but as El Primo once said, no pain, no gain, no glory. Gimnasio Primo. It's showtime.
Welcome back to the Brawl Stars World Finals. It is day 2 and the action is already underway with SK Gaming eliminating Zeta Division from the competition just moments ago. But we've got to keep the ball rolling and introduce our next quarterfinalists to the stage. Your first team is currently 1-1 at the Brawl Stars World Finals and making their debut on the main stage all the way from North America. It is Payne, Second Best, and Juan Carlos. They are Pioneers. Their opponents continue to surprise the masses on the main stage, absolutely dominating yesterday. It is Semantic, Lukey, and Boss. They are Humble.
Welcome back to the Brawl Stars Championship World Finals. What a day it has been so far, Trav. The Brits are back on the desk. We've almost lost our voices from watching that last matchup.
Honestly, that was some of the best gameplay we've seen in a while in the Brawl Stars Championship, and no better place than that for the Brawl Stars World Finals.
Absolutely crazy. Well, we've got to gear up our next matchup. Let's touch first and foremost on Pioneers. A great run for them this year, Travis. It's got to be said, 2 Grand Finals wins, 2 Grand Finals appearances, 2 for 2 for them, and for Juan Carlos for Payne for Second Best, a very, very important day.
I mean, Second Best looked kind of fresh out of bed there, coming in his pyjama bottoms as well, walking onto the stage. Honestly, he's been wearing these all week. I don't know if he's always chronically in bed or what, but you know, he loves his long-range brawlers, and I think that reflects in the Piper. What a player he's genuinely been all year long.
It really has, and it's been great to watch Second develop along the years, and he's certainly earned his place on the world stage. Fantastic to see him now being able to find his place, and certainly, though, must be said, Humble are going to be a fierce opposition. They are the #1 seed in the EMEA region.
And we've just seen how well EMEA can do on the world stage as well. We've got 4 of the 5 teams through to day 2 as well, and this team tops all of them as far as the regular season goes. Semantic, Lukey, and Boss being the Humble roster.
Got to mention as well, Lukey, what a fantastic year it's been for him. Someone that I've really felt was a shining star last year, came just shy at the LCQ, but certainly this year has been flying, absolutely flying. And you know, it's hard to even recall the fact that it's his first World Finals appearance. I mean, for someone in that position, you know, you've got to give him a lot of credit for how he's been handling himself. For Semantic, this is his 4th World Finals. For Boss, this is his 2nd. So in that regard, less experience, but that boy can play.
Yeah, I mean, how much expectations he had behind him as well, coming into 2023 and 2024 when he turned freshly 16. He's really been living up to those month after month after month. He's been playing so well, and Humble being one of the most consistent teams in the world. And that's kind of the complete opposite, I feel, for Pioneers. Pretty much everybody lining up with Humble here, all 5 of us on the casting decks, and also the viewers at home as well.
I can understand it. It makes a lot of sense for sure, but you know, I've got to say as well, like Semantic being like on the Humble squad is the most, you know, experienced of that squad. Before this World Finals, had only won 8 sets in World Finals. I mean, the 4 that they won yesterday made it 12 in total. That's the 3rd of his entire career of sets won in World Finals. So certainly had to break that curse, and that's brought him to where they are today. For Humble, this is a huge test for them. Pioneers and the North American region, for me, have been just excelling this year to all new heights. And I'm looking forward to seeing what they bring today.
See, the thing is, I think this is consistency from EMEA versus the complete opposite from North America. Pioneers obviously coming in as the #2 seed from NA. First month, they get knocked out first. Second month, they win. Third month, they go back to being knocked out again. And then the next month, they win once more, kind of ending somewhere in the middle in July, 3rd to 4th as well. So it's been a very back and forward year for them. And on the world stage, you need the complete opposite. You need to always be focused. You need to always be bringing your best. And I just hope that's going to be what Humble are doing, Pioneers are doing today, sorry.
And it was funny because Semantic, just hopped into the dressing room before going on the stage and stuff and was chatting to me about how consistent they've been all year long, and that is absolutely true. They've just got the 1 grand final wins out of the 4 grand finals appearances. So my reservation there was simply that, well, you are and have been so consistent, but you've got to start to tie up those little loose ends along the way, and we're now on the world stage. You've got to secure those end 5th sets.
Yeah, don't get me wrong, second in 3 monthly finals. I'd be pretty happy with that going all year long. But nobody wants to finish second in the Brawl Stars World Finals. You want the top prize. You want the bragging rights and all. Also that beautiful belt behind us on the stage as well. We're going to be starting things off then in Bridge Too Far. Humble versus Pioneers. We're kicking things off in Heist. And a pretty overwhelming prediction from the public going Humble's way.
71%. We were all united here on the talent side also. Putting a lot of faith, it must be said, in the side of Humble. But we can't forget the fact that Pioneers have just been so fearful on the battlefield. They look really, really good, in my opinion. For Heist then, Bridge Too Far, and a draft coming in, the bands being the Piper, the Mo, and the Kenji on the side of Humble. And for Pioneers, the Lola, the Chuck, and the Melody. Definitely a nice thing to see the Melody taken out of the mix there. The Mo also, and the Kenji, I think for good reason. A first pick of Angelo. I hate this brawler on this map. It's just a nightmare to deal with. So the fact that that has slipped through is definitely a worrisome thing, followed up by the Amber of Pioneers, which we saw a little bit yesterday on this very place, but it just didn't really kind of bring in the goods.
I'm so glad you expanded on hating Angelo, because I was like, what do you mean you hate Angelo? He's probably one of the best brawlers on the map. But yeah, it is extremely annoying. That, however, is not something I would have expected to see on a Bridge Too Far. Kit, what is he thinking?
NA, bro. NA. I mean, it's really quite a worrisome thing looking at a kit, especially on a mode like Heist. It's definitely, not what I would expect to see, but something which could spiral out of control with the right combinations, and they could be thinking Frank. That's all I'm saying. It's definitely one of those brawlers which comes up a lot in North America. That is definitely a boss brawler if I ever saw one. He is dangerous. Absolutely dangerous on the Colt. And that was another one left wide open. You can just shred through that safe with a Colt if left uncontested. The damage gear rolling in on top of that as well. It really, really can go from bad to worse. I think that Pioneers have got to be playing a very cautious defense combined with the 8-bit. I mean, that's a recipe for disaster here, Trav.
Honestly, I was thinking Colette, right? You see a kit on the other side and you kind of, okay, they're probably going to go a tank. You even mentioned the Frank, which is just absolutely out of the ordinary. We probably would have never seen it in competitive Brawl Stars before. So therefore you can, okay, they're probably going to go a tank. We'll take the Colette and, kind of just shred through it. It's good on the map, good on Heist as well. So we'll see what Pioneers do choose to bring in, whether or not they're going to just pivot off something completely different and just play something a bit more long range, which they are going to do. And I do have to question this Pioneers comp. Humble, it's normal. I love that. But Pioneers have got a point to prove with this.
It's probably going to be second best on that belt. And for me, one of the finest bell players in North America. He is just such an incredible sharpshooter. I just kind of have to question the kit somewhat. Did that change the course of the action along the way when they saw what Humble brought to the table? Because it just doesn't really feel to me like it has too much of a synergy. It can absolutely swap between the lanes and provide a bit of support wherever it needs to be, but I don't know, it's probably my least favorite brawler to be seen in this draft.
Yeah, well, instantly invising straight down the mid. Lukey going to be starting off with a few missed shots against him there, but eventually Juan Carlos will come out of that cardboard box and become visible once more. Boss going to pick up this left-hand side against second best quite early on and should be adding some decent damage to the safe to kick off this matchup.
Halo as well as Juan Carlos, and immediately Humble have got a huge advantage as a 3-man squad pushing through the mid, just second best now as the only Pioneers player still alive. Hayno coming back into the mid and already being tapped up as Lukey's been quite accurate there with the help of the damage booster. Nice gadget away as well out of the harms there of Juan Carlos. Semantic's creeping forwards as well. That poison's going to trickle down Juan Carlos, and look at this, more than 50% damage already dealt to the safe by Humble.
I mean, Boss trips a nest egg and still absolutely devours the safe. Pioneers haven't had a look in. Semantic beaming it down, Boss in there as well. Juan Carlos looks like he's pretty much giving up. He hasn't had a look in. Pretty sure he's got 0 damage in this game. And Humble destroy Pioneers in the entry game.
And those second best is wearing his pajamas, but they need to wake up on the side of Pioneers. That was an incredibly fast game. I mean, we were talking a minute. And Humble have got a comp which can just tear through things like that. You've got to clear up your lanes. You've got to slow the pace. Having those kind of base race ideas for Humble is exactly what they want in their strategy, and you've got to slow it down.
Well, double right-hand side, I much prefer this strategy as well. Juan Carlos has kind of gone under the radar so far in the bush, but it seems Semantic might be scouting out, trying to get a feel of where he is. And Luki going to be able to join him over this side thanks to the ability that Angelo provides to almost take him down, and Boss doing a great job here. Jump once again from Luki. The countermeasures are there, and it's all Humble once more.
Juan Carlos there, just a sitting duck effectively here. Luki trying to find a second inversion. Luki comes out on top, gets the super forward as well, and gets some quick kills popping there. The nest egg is going to help out considerably to allow Boss to now come through that left-hand side, and Semantic is a rock on that right-hand side. That additional movement as well with the back of the star power really enabling him to be able to juke a lot of those shots.
Well, the bell bounces off. The 8-bit turret will clean up this mid and give Kane a bit of a pathway through. But so far, not really taking an advantage of this kind of control they've managed to gain. The double right-hand side with Colt there as well. Luckily enough, Juan Carlos there. But for how long? Delaying the inevitable, and this damage starts destroying the Pioneers safe.
As a kid, you just can't jump on a player with all three members ready for the pickup, and just that's why Humble are just staying firm on the right. Boss, Semantic, Luki, all three members going in on the safe and getting the set in spectacular fashion. That was a walkover trap.
What do I even say to that? What do I say about that set? I think it's pretty self-explanatory, to be honest. They didn't even get a look in. Pioneers had about 3% damage on the safe. I'm ready to see a Juan Carlos 0 DPS, to be honest with you.
The stats are not going to be kind. I can say that for sure. Samantha came into the dressing room and said, we're going to lose today. Well, that was not a losing mentality there, for sure. That was just, honestly, extreme. I don't know whether Pioneers maybe just felt that they had a winning draft or whether they had a trick up their sleeve, but certainly it is, oh my word.
11.
Oh my word. 0 and 0 Pain and Juan Carlos, 11 DPS. For Juan as well, Pain is 104. I mean, that's abysmal. You got to say it how it is on the desk.
What's that? Probably one hit across the entire game?
Yeah.
Like 11 DPS with 0 kills. Yeah, he's playing kit. Come on. Try something different. Jump on someone's back. He hasn't even landed a super. It's really disappointing from Pioneers. I mean, you can't be getting defeated like that. Their mentality is going to be wavering. They're going to be all over the place.
I think, honestly, that's probably like the lowest stats I think I've ever seen on a World Finals stage. I mean, really disappointing stuff, and Pioneers can do better. I know, I've seen them all year long. They are a fantastic team. I'm not sure whether it's the nerves or whether the draft just didn't really go their way. But something is not right, and there is no time now to fix it, really. You know, you've got to come in more prepared than that.
Yeah, well, we had confirmation the kit did, in fact, get 0 shots in the first game. So I think we know where to place the blame to start with, but some reparations are still available. We've got a few more sets until they're going to be completely wiped out the competition, and they're going to have to make a change. We're heading on to Sneaky Fields in Brawl, and if he gets that kind of low DPS again, I'd be worried about what's going on.
I said going against my least favorite brawler, but I kind of expected just a kill. Just one, maybe, would be nice. Wow. Sneaky Fields, the draft, and the bans already in. The Max, the Frank, and the Sandy for Humble. And at first, only draft up for Search, which I really, really love. It's very versatile to have, and a great tank counter also. The Rico, the Sandy, and the Mo banned by Pioneers, and certainly they like to bring their tanks on this map, so I like the Frank ban for that very reason. Solid stuff on their front as well. Kenji, though, wide open here. Just putting that one out there.
Yep.
Yeah, what a surprise.
They're putting it out there. It's obvious it's going to be picked up. But then again, Humble have the Surge. That's going to be pretty decent against the Kenji. They can add a Daryl or something like that. And Pioneers are accounting for that exact eventuality. They know tanks are one of the only answers to Kenji, so they add the Clancy, who's going to be able to get a lot of levels off those tanks. You just got to question now whether or not Humble are just going to run these tanks directly into it and take them head on. Such
a free Gale map for me, honestly, going into that Kenji. And the Clancy was a nice pairing, to be fair, on the side of Pioneers, but certainly Brawl Balls, we know. I mean, the amount of utility that Gale brings to the table, the twister on the ball to really just get you out of a really sticky situation, as well as locking down some of these lane sides, exactly that. I mean, it makes perfect sense. I think Humble are reading this one like a book.
Yeah, you're reading it like a book as well. Today, you're on fire today, Ark, with these graphics.
Is that a compliment from you?
Honestly.
Holy!
And that shows shows how impressed I am. That shows how impressed I am. Rare to get a compliment on me, especially you.
It's a special occasion for sure.
It really is. Got to bring them out for the World Finals. Humble have their last pick now in 15 seconds to select something. And honestly, I wouldn't mind just tripling down with the tank counters or taking a tank of their own, the Daryl, being able to add on the 2 rolls. But they're going to go with the Stu, the ability to just use that mobility, get away from the Kenji. I love what Humble have got here.
Yeah, Stu, especially in those overtime scenarios, you're going to be able to really just get a nice lineup shot when all the boxes fall down. And against some meteor brawlers like the Kenji, able to dash away and provide some speed zone potential off the back of that gadget also. Or the breakthrough as well. On a map like Sneaky Fields, that can go a long way too. The third and final pick now coming in for Pioneers. It's got to be a good one. They are lacking a little bit of range. These would be nice to have. Let's see, Charlie. Ooh, I don't know. Charlie's been out of the kind of meta for a while. I was banking that one being an easy. I'm certainly not Charlie. A brawler which, ironically enough, we didn't see kind of like once in last year's World Finals. And I'm not sure how much we've really seen it in this year's World Finals, but for very different reasons.
I wish we didn't see it in this year's World Finals, to be 100% honest with you. It's just so odd to me. The draft that Pioneers are bringing out, it's like they're such an underdog team trying to make a random draft pick that's going to throw their opponents off. But they're not that much worse than Humble. Humble definitely the favourites coming into this one, as the viewer said, as we said as a collective on the casting desk. But it seems like they're just throwing stuff at the wall and seeing what sticks. And the World Finals is not the time for that.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. Semantic there, sending some love, looking very confident in himself. Gotta say a big shout out to Boss as well.
He's
honestly.
looking good.
He's looking great, isn't he? He's putting a lot of work in, and also when you look through his kind of history, he's had it rough in the years going by. 2022 in Paris, getting reverse swept by STMN, not making last year's World Finals, and then coming back this year and coming back as strong as he has. I think that we don't sing his praises nearly enough because he is that kind of person that keeps himself a little bit in the background, a very quiet but very well-mannered individual. And it's just great to see him bring out some of those really aggressive brawlers this year, tapping with those cold picks and those long-range brawlers, and just a very aggressive and all-rounded player.
Yeah, well, we're going to see if Pioneers are going to be able to even out the score and bring it back to 1-1. A very disappointing initial set from them against this Humble roster who seemed to be walking over them, just completely dominant here in the first set on a bridge too far. And by the looks of the draft, I would not be surprised if that exact same thing happens again. Pioneers need to change their strategy. They need to change what they're doing here, or they're going to be going home early in day 2.
Well, I think Payne's got some hand warmers there. So maybe that's the strat, If the thumbs aren't warmed up, just get the whole hands going, I guess. But as we go in now, certainly this is a set that Pioneers can maybe not afford to lose. Giving too much of an advantage to Humble would definitely be a mistake. A second already going immediately in there. On Semantic, goes in with a nice slice and dice, but Semantic gets the final say. The takedown is there. A good defense. It's with Payne and Juan Carlos are pretty weak there on their left and right hand sides.
It gets them all the way back to spawn, but it really does nothing for the team as they have zero control. Semantic's going to break some walls, get that grass opened up a little bit more, and make it a lot harder for second best to really show his worth. Lukey with a knockback, not going to have that stunning blow as we see the slows being in as well. Juan Carlos solo on his left-hand side, yet to get a level. Lukey moving forwards, might be able to get a super here and knock them all the way back. Twister plays down to prevent Payne from getting out this locked position in spawn. An all-out control once more from Humble. They know they don't need to overextend for this goal because they're in such a phenomenal spot.
I like that from Payne, being very reserveful there of the cocoon to ensure that he didn't waste it. It's going to be good to have on the defense now. Nice super there from Lukey. Oh, and a follow-up from Bosses there as well. Danger here for Pioneers as Humble are pushing forwards. It's just second best now. That Twister was perfectly placed by Lukey. A simple super shot with a bit of miscommunication, but I think it would have been better to maybe do exactly what they did in all honesty. I think that Payne coming in there would have been able to shut that down regardless. So Boss there coming back, I don't mind it.
Yeah, at least it's a 1-for-1 super trade. Lukey might have used the super to pass the ball forward, but Payne threw out that cocoon. Like he was very scared that was going to be a goal. Boss going to get his super again and the hypercharge along the way. Juan Carlos trying to defend this ball in the corner. Payne in the goal mouth. They're just getting slowed, beaten down until Humble can get an opening, and at the moment, it's going to present itself pretty soon.
I like this from Humble. They're just keeping things consistent and keeping the pressure on Pioneers, not going in too aggressive too early, trying not to feed as much into Payne as he's probably the best person to have on that defense. Eradicated now. Super pass from Semantic, and Lukey will be the one to score it and place Humble on the map in Brawl Ball.
Well, Hypercharge ready to roll for Boss still, and Lukey has the super and his as well. Now they go in. A lot of damage going to come down from that. Payne uses his to get a bit of extra mobility. Lukey going to be landing directly where second best is as well. I mean, guys, We need to see something past one. I mean, that was a very bad communication there, but still might be able to walk it. Definitely should have been a goal for Humble, but with 20 seconds on the clock, no need for that overextension.
I don't mind it's from Humble. They're just whittling down Pioneers and just almost rubbing the salt in the wound. And as time trickles down, it really is Pioneers who've got to make the move. The protester from second best is not an unusual thing to see in this circumstance, though. I kind of feel like it's necessary because Humble are really starting to run away with this. They're making it look far too easy on the world stage.
This is 2 sets in a row where we haven't seen them get out their own half of the map, pretty much.
Yeah.
Locked down from Humble, and Pioneers can just stand and watch and come out of spawn time and time again. It's such a disappointing performance from Pioneers so far. We need to question when they're going to wake up, when something's going to happen. Payne on this pick of the Charlie on the left-hand side really didn't do too much at all.
Certainly with experience on that side of things, you know, it's second best first land, you know, it's Payne and Juan Carlos' second World Finals. It's definitely going to be taking its toll, but I just kind of felt like as number 2 seed of North America that you'd show a bit more of a resolve than this, but so far it's all about Humble looking to just pass Semantic and just get that gassy hill along the way as well to stay in position as that Stu. Payne searching the left, but no one's there right now, and now second going to the right-hand side, falls straight into the arms of Lukey and Boss, and this ball again is such an aggressive spot. It's still an open door relatively here for Humble to walk through whenever they feel like it.
I mean, it's a 3v1 every time someone comes out of that Pioneer spawn. Eventually they're going to wait for all 3 of them to come back in and have a bit of a say in a 3v3 fight here, but Semantic going to go for the dashes in. Second best trying to follow him, gets the gadget heal as well, slicing through this mid, but Lukey will be there when he lands. Twister was placed as a kind of insurance as well, but Payne moving forward towards the Cocoon, trying to get the kill on Lukey, and still nobody will secure that kill. 3 people tried, and he still lives.
Again, just taking their time and just getting the resources up. Boss is pretty low stacks there on that surge pick as well, so he needs to try to level things up. Juan Carlos just inching towards the ball there, not going to pick it just yet. Pops a gadget as well, but has got to connect the shots to be able to get his stacks higher. And now Lukey goes straight in, sees the opportunity, hypercharge there, slams seconds to the wall, and should be able to walk it in. Humble do it and get another goal.
I mean, they're not taking risks. They're just waiting until all 3 members of Pioneers are dead and taking the free goal every single time. Second best trying to make a move down this right-hand side now. Getting towards Lukey. Eventually, we're starting to see something from Pioneers here. Second best goes for the dash, baits out Boss. Had the super, but no opening as Boss covers the goal entry. Payne one shot and he's going to fall as well. 40 seconds on the clock, and what hope do Pioneers have?
It's probably the best opportunity that we've seen from Pioneers all day long so far. And at the moment, Humble have got all the control with 30 seconds left on the clock as well, as Boss there pops a nice hypercharge, really just keeping everything in check. And Humble just going to keep that ball in that pocket. Why wouldn't they? It's Pioneers that have got to make the move, and they just keep stumbling down. Every attempt to even leave the goal face is doomed.
Shots from Boss follow up, and second best trying to make a break for it. Gadget and hypercharge comes in from Payne, but it's still nothing. No kills coming in from Pioneers. Humble on lockdown, and now 1 set away from the semi-finals of World Finals in 2024.
And you can hear the crowd roar behind Humble as they've been flawless so far. It's hard to believe that they can't go all the way, but we've seen some crazy turnarounds in the BSC, and this is the World Finals. What better time to see something from Pioneers, but it's very difficult to feel it, to get behind it from what we've seen so far. It just doesn't feel like the chemistry is there. Doesn't feel like there's much really going on with the squad. Maybe the communication just on an all-time low. The pressure, it's definitely getting to them.
It feels like there's no... Oh, look at this! That's what? 4 kills in 2 sets of Brawl Stars for Pioneers. And Humble, double that with just Semantic in this set. Add 12 from Lukey, add 13 from Boss. And this is squaring up to be a complete sweep by Humble.
I mean, Humble look there pretty much collectively got more kills than we tend to see in a best of 5 that goes all the way. I mean, just a slaughter. It is what it is. Humble have never looked so good, or have Pioneers never looked this bad. It's really kind of hard to say at this present moment in time. It's really quite astounding.
I think it's a bit of both. Humble are looking really good. Their drafts are phenomenal. Their gameplay's phenomenal. They're playing as a team, and it's the complete mirror for Pioneers. They look defeated. Their drafts aren't good. They're not playing as a team. And this is shaping up to be one of the most dominant sweeps we've ever seen in the World Finals. Or in Brawl Stars.
I thought you nailed it until you said the second bit, and then I realized that you're absolutely right. Yeah. Like, it's what it is, you know? But for Pioneers, maybe they can bring something out of the bag. I'd like to believe that they've got the skill to be able to do so, and it's just the drafts that are just not really working for them. But, you know, they've got Philip behind them, and he's a fantastic coach and drafter. I mean, he's got that massive, thick Bible of notes every single time we see him. So it's really kind of hard for me to say. I just feel like maybe it's the nerves. I just don't really... But then I say that, but then they had Kit in the first set. That just was just not it. So probably a bit of both.
I mean, I want to see them get a good draft and put up a fight against Humble, because then we will see if it is the nerves or if it is that draft. So far, it seems like the draft to me, and maybe the nerves do play a part as well, but the Frank, Mo, and Kenji bans roll on in from Humble on Hard Rock Mine. I mean, Ruff's first pick.
Staple diet in North America, isn't it, really? I mean, there's a reason why Humble keep banning the Frank as well, because they know that in the hands of Pioneers it's so deadly. But I mean, I don't necessarily mind the Rust, but I think in this kind of meta, there's better kind of ideas. I think the Surge first pick for me is a bit more of my flavor. I think it's that kind of similar idea that they're trying to go for with something which is a bit more versatile, can provide something of a buff over time to their teammates. But I mean, in this kind of meta, I would prefer to see the kind of Surge coming through. Rico coming in for Humble, you know, is my favorite brawler on this map, has always been, a lot of the time banned for good reason as well. Could be taking that lane side. There's a mid still open here for Humble. Quite like a Sandy pick here myself, to be completely honest, but plenty of other options as well available to them. The Gus, yeah, like that as well, coming in for them. Good range, and we know what that shield can do, and it leaves a third and final pick open as something potentially tanky to combine with that Gus shield.
I mean, one of the best lanes picked up by Humble, and possibly the best mid now picked up after Piper's been banned, after Penny's been banned. It kind of leaves a bit of a gaping hole in the mid, and that's something that Gus can fill pretty flawlessly. Ruffs on the side of Pioneers, it just seems like a worse version of Rico to me on this map. That's all I can say about it. They do have this second pick, and they will follow it with a third shortly after that. They need a mid still, but they're going to go with the Daryl. I don't mind that. They've got the aggression. It's something that North America really do so well, play these tanks. We saw second best player over on the B stream yesterday, and that man was playing brilliantly on the Daryl. But there's so much work to do left for Pioneers.
I'd be surprised to see a Bell mid here for a second, to be completely honest. Have that Ruffs and Daryl go on the side lanes on the aggressive, get a bit of wall break potential as well along the way, but certainly Pioneers need to go back to their winning ways. Get that aggression rolling in from Juan Carlos, get that control coming in from the mid, and that gem carry that Second has been so consistently doing. And every mode he's been very good all year long. Gene for that mid, I don't mind that necessarily either. I was kind of thinking it along the way. But they've got to have that support network there when that magic hand comes in. If the Daryl and the Ruffs are too busy on their side lanes, they're not going to be there for that. So they've got to be cautious. That vision gear, though, for sure, going to come in very handy with that Gene. Third and final here for Humble. They can go in really quite heavy on the tanks. For me, Clancy going to be that big tank counter, but it's still so strong into non-tank brawlers. Just a bit of a risk to get it up to that max stack level, but once you have, you can just run over your opposition with Clancy.
Yeah, it seems like we're probably going to have quite a lot of lane swaps here on Hard Rock Mine. Pioneers' best draft yet. And what a time to be able to pull this out of the bag. They need 3 in a row to be able to turn this back on Humble and make it to the semi-finals, but only one set stands between Humble and victory.
No one wants to see a sweep on the world stage, not on day 2 of the Brawl Stars World Finals. And in we go. The pressure certainly mounting for Pioneers. But as you said, Trav, a draft is our favourite so far here from them today. Let's see what they can make of it. Lukey already taking an affirming role in the mid with 3 gems to his name. Good. Kooky Popper there onto Payne as well. Really keeps him low for longer. 4 gems down. Sandbags from Juan Carlos already shredded very quickly by Boss. The Semantic is already stacking up things and just eradicates the Daryl of there. Juan Carlos on the right-hand side.
I mean, look how close he is to level 3 already. He's getting shots. He's getting so many shots against the Daryl, and they're not even attempting to swap because Daryl's going to have a pretty poor matchup no matter which side he goes. Break coming in on the left-hand side from Juan Carlos, and Payne yet to see the light of day in terms of the gem spawner. Now we eventually see this rotation over to the left-hand side from second best, but he meets Gus and Rico on that side. A shield being provided to Boss now as well. Ready to fight off. And already 8 gems for Lukey, and KCP about to pick up their first.
Humble have had a great opportunity in the mid to keep this control going as well. Semantic already getting some good value off the Daryl, was now second, rolling in, finds there the nice little supply drip along the way and gets down boss. This is the kind of thing we need to see more of here from Pioneers, but the gems are not being gathered in the mid. One more over to Humble and only one more away from a countdown. If you get a magic hand pull from Payne onto Lukey, that's the best they can hope for at the moment, but Boss getting some big taps. That gem there in the middle, Humble are not rushing towards because second is being a menace in their spawn.
Yeah, really tough situation now for Humble, locked in spawn with a magic hand waiting for them as they try to push out. Semantic almost at level 3, wants to rotate to that right-hand side, but vision gear from Payne stopping him from doing just that. Second best in the back push. Now the hypercharge comes through. So many bounces, big stuff. That's the magic hand used. Second best should be pinched down here, and especially with Semantic using this super as well. Almost level 3 secured, and one gem for them will secure it. Lukey picks it up, and countdown starts for Humble.
Second's coming in now, has got support network behind him, but got to go on the aggressive. There's not enough time from the mid here. Second's low here as well. Payne needs to land the magic hand, and everyone from Humble is just too far away. The pressure is getting to Pioneers. It's going to be a match point for Humble.
Something needs to change. They need 3 sets straight, and they can't get a look in. What a start that was from Humble in Hard Rock Mine. 8 gems before Pioneers even saw the gem spawner. Heading into game 2, it's now match point for Humble. Pioneers staring down the barrel. Something needs to change.
It is now or never for Pioneers. Their year's work depends on these games, and they could be going home packing unless something happens here. Humble already. Some nice takedowns on the side of Pioneers and a break there of the mid from Juan Carlos on the back foot. The first time so far, but Semantic pushing forwards there. The accuracy onto Payne. Second there, uses the opportunity to go in there onto Lukey. Getting a lot of value for his time. A nice gadget as well with the tar barrel, but now they're recouping themselves on the side of Humble. Payne has got the magic hand early this time as well. Connects it to Semantic, gets the support from second. Nice stuff. Pioneers starting to make some things work.
Much better from Pioneers off the start. Second best rolls on in, getting the heals from Payne as well through this mid. Vengeful Spirits used yet again, and that's going to be his last one of this game. Over the right-hand side, we see a bit of a trade between both the brawlers over there. Semantic yet to get to a level 2, but eventually getting quite close. Lukey, 5 gems in hand, does take the lead for Humble, but it seems to be all Pioneers so far. Second best round the flank, gets a knockback from the Gust Shield. Good use of that from Lukey. Now the pinch starts to come in, and we might see Humble break out.
The second's been feeding really quite heavily into Semantic. Now the hyper charge from Payne connects to Lukey, and Juan Carlos is there. The gems with Pioneers, but a nice reset there from Semantic. And it's not over just yet. They're sitting there, second just hovering. Going to be going into his pocket, not ideal. But when you're on countdown, it doesn't matter. Pioneers are doing work, but can Humble get a reset?
Semantic bringing Juan Carlos low. No more sandbags available, and second best pinned in the top portion of the map. Nowhere to run now, and the 3 members from Humble closing down. Roll goes in, but Payne's going to fall down. Semantic has the super. Down goes Juan Carlos, and they have the count on the blue side. Second best goes low thanks to the Kooky Bumper, and he falls too. Humble running away with it.
7 seconds remain, and for the Pioneers, it could be all over. There's a magic hand, but the HP is not going to be there. It doesn't connect, and the shield is perfect from Lukey, and Humble proceed to the semi-finals.
Disappointment for NA, but an all EMEA semi-finals is lined up for tomorrow as Humble decimate Pioneers.
A guaranteed EMEA placement in the grand finals has just been set. Devastation for Pioneers, who just could not find any kind of momentum on the field in the drafts. It's going to be a tough one to look back on, but you can't take a single thing away from Humble. They didn't miss a trick. Drafts were perfect, gameplay was spot on, and Humble looking like a real favorite in this competition.
Taking the words right out of my mouth. If Humble play like this, if they draft like this, they might be my favorite to win it all at this point. That was perfection from them. But disappointment for Pioneers. What a year they have had in the NA region, coming in as the number 2 seed. Back and forward from late exits to big monthly final wins, but their year in 2024 ends in the quarters.
The scariest part for me is that I don't really feel like Humble felt tested at all. I feel like, Pioneers could have been given everything they had and it would still have looked the same. See the stats, again, Semantic just mirroring second best the entire way through. Makes a lot of sense why he would be on the highest of the takedowns there as well. But Boss and Lukey just always there for the support. And the whole squad, the synergy of everyone working in harmony, it's really very, very scary.
Very scary prospect for those looking on, and especially SK Gaming. They come off the back of a huge win against Zeta Vision to now have to look at this Humble roster as their matchup for tomorrow. Semantic, a well-earned MVP for the game against Pioneers, and what gameplay he brought to the table. So much composure, and the team in general just played to perfection.
Crazy, absolutely crazy. I was expecting some fireworks in that matchup, but I'll be honest, I didn't expect it to be nearly as one-sided. For Humble, they are going to the semi-finals and they are looking like one of the scariest contenders, but we've still got plenty more still to come, and that's the thing. We're shaping things up, but we're not done yet, not by a long shot.
Yeah, a lot more to go through today and tomorrow as well. Still, another 2 quarterfinals to play out today, and they're both setting up to be bangers as well, but this one did end with a 3-0 to Humble. And I am scared for what they're going to be able to bring from this point onwards. Let's refresh our minds, look at the brackets. The top portion of it has been completed for today, as SK Gaming took down Zeta Division with such a close 3-2 win to move on and play against Humble, who have just absolutely swept Pioneers off the table. Crazy Raccoon versus Elevate will be the game up next, and then we round out today with Reply Totem versus Rival Esports.
Elevate, the last standing North American team. The pressure that must be on their shoulders there. They were number 2 in their group yesterday in Group A, but after watching that, they've got to be feeling a lot more pressure added to the mix. Their entire region now just resting on everything which they do. And they've got one of the toughest competitors in this tournament.
Yeah.
I would not like to be in their shoes.
No, NA looking on in horror, I'm sure, at that matchup against Crazy Raccoon, and obviously against Humble, 2 of the toughest opponents they could have drawn for day number 2 of the Brawl Stars World Finals, and they drew both of them. Really disappointing stuff for the NA region, but let's not count Elevate out, because that is going to be one great matchup.
And as well, for Reply Totem, there's a good possibility if they play it like they were playing yesterday, that they might also be in a position of landing themselves into the semis too. We might have 3 EMEA teams there. Who knows? I feel like Rival have really impressed me, especially a lot of the talent in the dressing room also. That match is still very much a 50-50 for me. This was the one that I thought would be a lot closer than it was between Humble and Pioneers. I just didn't expect that we would see a sweep here today, but again, this is the World Finals. Anything is possible.
Yeah, I started the day off with a tear going down my face, as my cast predictions did not start well. I went for Zeta Division over SK Gaming today, and it did not play out the way I thought. But for you, for Uber, and for Kenny, smooth sailing so far.
Not just smooth sailings today, might I add, but smooth sailings yesterday. 100% accuracy with us, which is a shame because being the predictions master that you are, I kind of expected a bit more.
I'm going to have to pull out some bold picks tomorrow to catch up, I'd say, because I can't catch up today. I'm going to have to go for the complete opposite of what's expected and cross my fingers. It's definitely disappointing not to see Zeta Division go any further in the quarterfinals, because they are the world champions at the current moment until we crown a champion this weekend. So very disappointed to see them go out early on, but SK Gaming with a very deserving semi-finals entry.
I mean, that first match, honestly, was just one of the most thrilling that I've seen on a world stage. I mean, we were watching it from the sidelines, screaming our lungs out, and we just couldn't believe the fact that the turnarounds were even going to be possible on the side of SK Gaming, toppling the current reigning champions. It's just not something that you necessarily expect to see when you wake up in the morning. Crazy things are occurring here, and it's one of my favorite world finals so far, honestly. You just can't fault it.
I mean, not to sound like a bit of a biased caster in terms of regions, but EU are looking good. EU are looking very, very good, I will say. And, I'm not going to say I don't like to see it, because I love seeing my home region do well.
Don't jinx it.
And also I get to, laugh a little bit at Kenny and Reddy in the background and Uber as well after casting this region all year long. But they might get a bit of a bite back with Elevate versus Crazy Raccoon next. And honestly, I wouldn't mind seeing it.
Yeah, no, I really feel like, I said from the beginning that Elevate are that kind of team, which, could really stumble in that first day or just struggle going to the second, but that's because this is their first World Finals for the majority of them. It's just one of those things where you've got to be able to pace yourself, and they've been doing that pretty well. But it's Crazy Raccoon Trap. I mean, you know, they've got the most experience by far in this matchup. I mean, we've had one immense upset today. Are we open for a second?
Yeah, I mean, genuinely all of the games throughout today are going to be so good, and that's the thing. Crazy Raccoon being, you know, previous world champions on their roster and a two-time champion Tensai as well, really makes me scared for what is to come next. But obviously, we do have still 2 more matchups today. A little bit later down the line, we have that Totem versus Rival Esports matchup as well, and we touched a little bit on how well we think Rival are going to do in that matchup. Personally, I think they are going to drop down to the power of EMEA once more and reply to it and take that victory.
Well, we shall have to wait and see. Our next matchup will be Crazy Raccoon versus Elevate, the last remaining hope of North American Dreams. We're going to be right back after a very short break, but you don't want to go anywhere.
The 2024 Brawl Stars World Finals are brought to you by ESL, Monster Energy, and DHL.
It's funny. They call us heroes. They say everything is back to normal. But they don't know how much we sacrifice to keep it that way. Some things never change. Well, maybe they do.
just have to do stuff.
Welcome back, folks, to the Brawl Stars World Finals for 2024. We are still cleaning the remains of Pioneer's from the stage. An absolute bloodbath we saw in that second semi-final. And we're also setting our sights ahead to semi-final number 3. Crazy Raccoon versus the last hope of North America. It's going to be Elevate on the other side of that matchup. Who, ready, set, thanks for joining me, had to fight their way through that Group A with SK Gaming in the mix to get here to day 2.
It was brutal, but they did manage to take set number 1 in that series, which totally changed the tone that we were expecting out here from Elevate. Their first ever LAN as a team, and only one player on their roster that had been at LAN before. And at those LANs, well, he didn't take a single set. Yeah, and now at the World Finals on the biggest stage, in fact, on the big stage in that game, managed to take a set. So real scrappy one. Didn't take it in the end, but managed to scrape through that group stage.
Yeah, really close Group A in general for Elevate, even though they dropped a set to Foot Esports, and there was concern about whether they would be a team that could even emerge from that Group A. On the other side of this matchup, yeah, it's Group C. The Group of Death produced a bloody, beaten, but still alive Crazy Raccoon, who have emerged perhaps to reclaim what was once theirs as Tensai eyes off a 3rd world champion. And Crazy Raccoon look at the bottom half of this bracket and lick their lips in anticipation.
Bloody and beaten is absolutely true, but we have to consider that these guys emerged with a 2-0 scoreline. Every single match in that group went to a 2-1 series. Luminosity, they fought for their lives but could not make it to this stage. So Crazy Raccoon, what do they get as a reward for making a perfect 2-0 advancement onto the quarterfinals? They have to face number 1 from North America.
Yes. It doesn't get any easier. A trans-Pacific battle between Apex number 1 and North America's Golden Child. We're going to head down to Banks to get this one rolling.
Thank you so much, Uber. 2 teams have already been sent packing as our best of 5 show us who came prepared for the main stage. And of course, there is still more to come, namely our next quarter final. First up, a team that is looking to make a huge upset here on the main stage. It's Zeus, RBM, and Luffy. They are Elevate. Their opponent, a team that honestly needs no introduction. Previous world champions yet to lose on the main stage. Tensai, Shitampo, and Moya. They are Crazy Raccoon!
Now, this might be the first year in many years that a team called Zeta Division will not be winning the World Finals, but the previous bearers of the name are still very much in their prime. It's Crazy Raccoon here ready to throw down. And on the other side, Elevate are a relatively less tested quantity, a lot less LAN experience like we talked about here. They're a team, though, that has found a lot of success from some really great drafting.
That is really their specialty here, is they cook on these drafts. Zeus, RBM, Luffy, they are simply the instruments that are used by Killer to orchestrate all of this draft business. Let's talk about Luffy, though. I would argue one of the more mechanically skilled players on this roster, and yet I don't think he gets enough credit. I think RBM tends to steal the show for his tank play, but we see Luffy cook on brawlers, especially Rico. If he ever makes it through that draft, you got to keep a close eye on him.
Absolutely. I mean, this is a team in Elevate who make great use of Luffy on the Kenji, especially to craft some very aggressive strategies that really worked around setting that nasty assassin brawler up for success. Elevate, I think in their game against Foot Esports, that they let Frank through the draft, and I think they allowed Kenji to be picked by their opponents. So they end up losing that first set of the series. We're all starting to worry about the fates of NA's #1 team, but they recover quite nicely. Crazy Raccoon have also had their fair share of scrappy games in the lead up to this match.
Crazy Raccoon, they have not made it easy on themselves, because I would say the typical shortcoming of Crazy Raccoon is that they struggle with some of these drafts, but to account for that, they have the best mechanics on the globe. Tensai being world-renowned for his skill over here, especially on his favorite brawler, Max.
Absolutely. When Max is available to be picked up. We often see Crazy Raccoon prioritize it. They're a team that loved a lot of Carl, loved to use Meg, even the Gene and those Gene Max pairings. This is a team, though, who have really lent more on their individual skill. The mechanical prowess of this team has definitely been one of their hallmarks, and sometimes the drafting is left a little to be desired.
And I think that's deliberate. I think that they really think that they deserve to win if they can mechanically best their opponents. They've always sort of had this mentality, and that is why they have gained this reputation. They've invested all of their skill points into just mechanics. They are going to win this lane by dodges, by not getting hit, especially.
And again, we've seen that prowess showcased time after time. But the game is changing. Brawl Stars is becoming a little bit more about the draft as the roster of Brawlers continues to expand. You all at home at event.brawlstars.com, many of you getting behind Crazy Raccoon. I believe all us casters are also on your side. This should be a game in which the APAC #1 seed could claim a spot in the semifinals.
If Crazy Raccoon had things their way, they would like to play this with 3 lanes. But there's one critical issue here on Canal Grand, which is that there are really only 2 lanes unless you play something that can float over the water. And Crazy Raccoon have already eliminated one of those key options, Angelo. Not even in the consideration as a first selection out here for Elevate. We're going to be picking up that Mo.
Mo available, and you better believe it's going to be an early pickup for either of these teams. Crazy Raccoon also, we've seen Shtitampa pick that up on occasion. RT, going to be the pick from Crazy Raccoon. And note, Elevate has banned Tick and Larry and Laurie out. They are a team that likes to go for more of that tank play, not so much the throwers. Here's the Gene we mentioned earlier for Crazy Raccoon, a classic pick, signature approach for them so far.
Should be able to deal with any throwers that are selected over here. Also going to be gradually farming up that super, especially if you can see a lot of hits and get a hypercharge out here. Brock going to be a pretty unorthodox selection here for Canal Grand. Should be able to jump over a wall, maybe cross that gap in the middle. And here's the Carl. This is going to address a potential thrower selection for Crazy Raccoon, given that they have gotten this Gene. Makes it a little difficult for Elevate to deal with that. But also remember, this is Bounty. Carl is going to be immediately grabbing that blue star and starting things off with a bang for Elevate.
This also means Shtitampa might have to consider Lamp Blowout instead of Vengeful Spirits as a gadget selection. And the Squeak being picked up by Crazy Raccoon. Of course, very powerful. That residue gadget to be able to slow within a radius is very potent.
It'll get them some vision in some of these bushes, and yes, slow within a radius on one of the lanes. And I think it will be able to play this east versus west gameplay that we see to emerge on Canal Grand pretty effectively, but keep in mind that they don't really have a good way of getting this blue star. They should be able to shove Elevate back into their bushes, but that's about it.
Here we go, folks, jumping into our third quarterfinal. It's Crazy Raccoon from APAC. Elevate, the #1 seed from North America. Only one will survive.
Elevate already grabbing that blue star as expected and transferring over to this left side. They don't want to just take one side. They want to be able to own both the left and the right and push Crazy Raccoon back into their spawn. And so far, it seems to be effective. But CR are grouping up around Moya. He's the sort of oasis of health thanks to these magic puffs that keep everyone alive.
Zeus also punished there by Shtitampa, who has comparable range and double the health almost of that Brock. Zeus takes another hit here. Luffy has to constantly be moving. You'll notice the residue field on the left side of the map there. The poke damage has been good, and so Zeus has been able to move up a little bit more. We're going to see some pretty tentative probing for the first part of this round.
Tensi's making an aggressive push in, trying to get some damage on Luffy. Takedown, but 1 kill as we see Tensai and RBM exchange. Still a 1-star lead here for Elevate, but here comes the hypercharge from Zeus. Looking for a bit of bonus damage. There's a kill on Shtitampa, and Zeus stays alive.
Slower start here for Crazy Raccoon. They do have a magic hand available. That's the Lamp Blowout used there, but not enough to keep Moya alive. Tensai wants to come in, throws a super out, but man, Elevator looking pretty good here.
Well, Shtitampa still managed to get a kill there with the Hacks gadget for RT. And it looks like this right side has now been left open. Definitely a fighting chance for Crazy Raccoon to start pushing up this right side, and Tensai is going to take full advantage. Now that Elevator back in their spawn, this is when the Squeak actually starts to become a problem.
Zeus trying to push out of spawn. Knows he's going to take a bit of damage from Tensai to do so. Luffy gets up close. Tensai pops that hyper. Luffy won't be able to get away, but Zeus is there. 1 for 1. Tensai doubles down. Elevate still have a 2-star lead now in the last 10 seconds of the round.
Excellent tanking play from Elevate over here as RBM was reduced to super low HP, but Squeak is bound to start coming around this right side. Everyone's closed in. They gotta get a kill. Oh, and a buzzer beater finish for Crazy Raccoon. A blue star victory to start this one off with a comeback.
Always dangerous to give up map control against the Squeak. And Elevate don't have a Magic Puffs-like ability like Crazy Raccoon do, so that poke damage sticks around a lot longer.
Once they conceded that mid area, that's when they started to seriously suffer. We'll see once again though, Luffy starting off, getting this blue star. Elevate already in the lead, they have possession of mid. Tenside's gonna try a different creative way of getting around the left side, chaining up some of these shots, but no kill.
Moya steps up, knows one direct hit would have ended Luffy, but he's able to just crawl away. Now, Crazy Raccoon have bush control here. You might see Elevate opt to split the map, but they want to keep Carl within attacking range, and a rocket rain's going to break a lot of those bushes.
Zeus doesn't mind breaking open some of these walls that can be a critical position for Elevate to control, because Crazy Raccoon had possession, even if it was for such a short duration. They're occupying this right side and leading by 3 stars at the moment. They're in a very safe position, but once they let Crazy Raccoon take control of mid, that's once again where Tensai on the Squeak is going to become a massive issue.
Zeus backing up a little bit more now. Luffy playing cagely. He does have that tailspin at the ready. Carl has everything he needs to go in and dive, but against the Squeak, that could be a dangerous proposition. RBM goes in. Shitapo disintegrates. RBM only able to find the one, but Luffy and Zeus follow it up, and Moya limps away.
He's still got that super though, so he's not looking too bad. Luffy does have a way of escaping from it. We'll see some rocket rain towards the right side. Just a preventative measure to keep Tensai from getting in. But this is history repeating itself. Game number 1 all over again. RBM's quite low on the left side. Pull for Moya, but Elevate still lead.
They're giving up the map though. Elevate are getting back towards their spawn, and Tensai now starting to posture a little more aggressively. RBM avoids most of this poke damage, but Zeus needs to be careful. He's marked up. Luffy wants to go in. Slowed up. Tailspin still gets him there. Tensai is felled. An Elevate of a 2-star lead heading into the last 10.
As long as Luffy stays alive here on the back right, then all should be good for Elevate. We gotta see Tensai on the Squeak come around and close them in. RBM looking for the close range matchup on the left side. Kill on the Moya. Critical. Elevate, bring it back.
Right there, classic example of the power of mode. It's an easy dive to make. Getting subterranean with it and pouncing on that gene.
Once more, same gameplay. We see this Squeak gradually move things towards the back, cornering everyone in like he did in game 1. Crazy Raccoon are playing this slow and controlled because really it's their only option. But they've decided on playing this way. We'll see them also decide to swap some of these lanes over here. Tensai making concerted effort on the right side and getting the matchup diff actually on Zeus.
Okay, Luffy still walks out with the blue star. That's the difference maker here as Elevate have that slimmest of slim leads. Shitapo getting aggressive here, but RBM is back off spawn and Zeus has a rocket rain at the ready. Fire at will.
Elevate all alive and healthy here on the right, playing this east versus west that they really did not want to play. Tensai is going to be the main issue for them over here as he gradually closes things in, occupying these bushes with a gadget especially. Luffy's marked, a super in, that's contact on RBM, and for the first time, Crazy Raccoon leading in the mid-game.
This is the decider round of this set, folks. Elevate to stumble, allow Crazy Raccoon to pick up some freebies, and that's a mistake they are always going to punish. RBM does not have super up, so no all-in available here to the Mo. Luffy does, but holds the blue star and needs to respect RT's up close damage should he look to engage.
It's going to be difficult for Elevate to play aggro here because Moya is ready to punish with a pull. Luffy, same deal. He can't gadget in on Sitatampo because he has that super ready to go. We'll see a super in from Zeus, but no real damage onto Tensai, especially as it's all being healed up by Moya's magic puffs.
Okay, hypercharge here coming out from Zeus. The move speed is terrifying. Tensai's down. Luffy maybe overextends, backs away and realizes Elevate have the lead already.
Sitatampo ready to push in once more on the right side. We see the same thing happen again.
Oh, they're coming.
Tensai storming the right side. Luffy definitely pinched. Zeus trying to fire down some suppressing fire, but Sitatampo shrugs it all off. The lane switch here with the final gadget from Luffy. It's getting desperate. 10 seconds left. RBM going for the Hail Mary play. No kill. Yes, as he pops out of the super. Elevate still lead by just 1 star and takedown on Sitatampo, and Elevate takes set 1.
A little stumble there for Elevate in that last round, but they recover with poise. Again, it is a Mo dive. They're all in there. An unpunished trade of kills that gives Elevate the edge, and ultimately the set.
Such a near miss too, because we saw RBM push in with that Mo and actually had to bail before he could get that kill in the drill form. He popped out using the super and then got that final bit of damage for the kill confirming. That is what kept Elevate in the lead in those final moments.
So here, this is how that first round played out. Squeak Hypercharge, pretty bloody good. But Elevate here can't kill, that's their problem. They led at this point in the game, but got completely stuffed into the corner of the map. It was a blue star difference to decided. Then we start to see Elevate's game plan really play out. RBM goes in the dive, but he does so with full information because Zeus spends the round using every super to break the bushes on the left side of the map. So Elevate can make informed decisions about how they go for that full commitment.
They don't want to push in on an enemy that they're unaware of, especially considering that they're playing into Moya, who's holding on to this gene pull at all times. But when it came to critical times, we didn't actually see Moya hit that gene pull. That is dangerous here for the CR squad. When we look at the entire Crazy Raccoon team over here on the left side, though, Site Dampo on this RT didn't really make too much of a difference. RT is more of a safe selection over here. It also plays to counter this Mo and also the Carl. He can't really push that RT, especially since he's going to always have that super out.
Now zooming out for a second, Crazy Raccoon, as good as they have looked, they have seemed to be more fallible than ever at this World Finals, and those are the reports coming out of the Scrimbucks exchange, what we've seen from them in their group stage, play dropping sets in both of their victorious games. They know how to play from behind. It's not been an issue. They conceded sets here and there, but eventually a team is going to come along who will punish them for every mistake so hard that Crazy Raccoon are unable to find an edge in order to get a set. This is a best of 5, so plenty of game to play, but Crazy Raccoon need to shape up.
When we saw Crazy Raccoon take some L's yesterday, when it came to the 2 sets they dropped against the 2 matches that they played, it was because they played outside of their comfort zone. They tried to play the current meta that they're not really too used to playing. Now when they play something that they're more comfortable with and it still gets out-drafted by Elevate, that is seriously dangerous territory. And right now, in this matchup of mechanics versus draft, it looks like draft is winning so far.
Crazy Raccoon say, listen, we're going to ban every new brawler. All the new brawlers, not allowed. Illegal, actually. Punishable by incarceration. We have Kenji, Melody, and Mo all banned away, but guess who still sneaks through?